What 24%? Your child, you never call a pussy. Your child, you never call a pussy. 24%. What 24%? Your child, you never call a pussy. Your child, you never call a pussy.
One of the more shocking things that I have experienced over the course of those years are the number of young boys and girls who have openly declared their apostasy to me.
24%. What 24%? Your child, you never call a pussy. Your child, you never.
You're imagining this deformed thing, and they say it moves, and you're imagining it hopping, and they go, oh, but don't imagine it. And you're thinking, well, it's a bit late, mate. Well, not imagine it. Don't imagine it. Don't imagine it. It's a bit late for that. Don't imagine it. Don't imagine it.
The Quran says that Allah has one eye, and another ayah says He has multiple eyes, multiple eyes, and both of Allah's hands are right hands. Both of them are right. How? I don't know. Don't try. Don't try.
Don't imagine it. Don't imagine it. It's a bit late for that. Don't imagine it. Don't imagine it.
The fingers of Allah are mentioned. The shin of Allah is mentioned. The face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned. So all these are a direct indication that Allah has got a shape.
How? I don't know.
Don't imagine it. Don't imagine it. It's a bit late for that. Don't imagine it. Don't imagine it. Let me dumb this down for you guys. This one, God, body parts. This one, no body parts.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. We got two Chris's today. We got Chris Kloss from One Way Apologetics, and we got who we're going to call today Speaker's Corner Chris from Chris of Speaker's Corner. So we want to welcome everybody here to the live stream. In regards to the thumbnail, I saw some comments about that. I want to let you guys know that we're going to try to get everyone on that isn't here today tomorrow. So Avery, God willing, will be with us tomorrow, and David may or may not be with us today, but he will be with us tomorrow as well. So
yeah, we got all the best people here today, you know.
We got two Chris's, not one.
Yeah, we got two Chris's.
Double the Chris.
Yeah.
We got the A team in today.
All right. So how we normally do this, guys? Well, Chris has been with Chris Speaker's Corner. Chris, I gotta get used to that. Speaker's Corner, Chris. He's been with us with these a couple of times, so he knows how it goes. But just let everybody else know who doesn't know exactly how this goes. What we do is we open up the panel for anyone to join, and we give priority to Muslims. So if there's a Muslim, we give priority to them. And then because we don't have as many Muslims that come to these live streams as they do like for Avery's, for example. So what we do is we will take Christian callers, and if they have any questions about the topic, the Islamic dilemma, then we do try to get to those when we can. So before we get into it, because we do have a bunch of people, 3 people already in the queue, we want to welcome Chris Kloss here. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Chris. Tell people what you want them to know about you. And I put you on a Santa hat in the thumbnail, and your name is Chris Kloss, so it's pretty cool.
He's going to be very busy Christmas.
Very busy.
Hey, and just to let y'all know, we were talking back channel, and we were wondering if everybody was ready for Christmas. And I had to let them know that anybody with the last name Claus better be ready for Christmas.
That's right.
My name is Chris Kloss. I am a Christian. I am a father. I'm a husband. I am a father, and I am a grandfather. I have 5 children. I have 3 grandchildren. I love a big family. We're close. What I do online in YouTube is I do apologetics against Muslims. So I do reviews on my channel. I'll do TikTok live discussions. I normally don't host debates because I'm not a very fair moderator. So don't try to ask me to host a debate. I'm definitely not going to be a fair moderator. Just putting that one out there right there. But yeah, I've been a Christian apologist for probably about 14 years. I started off on an app called Pal Talk years ago with a teenage Jai. And then here we are.
Right.
Here we are almost 20 years later, still together on YouTube. God is good.
I think you're giving me a couple of years there, 20 years, but
I was going to say, I was doing the math in my head there, thinking, hey, how old is Jai?
no, but that is true. Chris and I did meet on Pal Talk all those years ago. However many years ago that was. That's when we got started online doing this. So praise God, and it's been a journey, and we can't wait to see where it goes and where it continues. So yeah, we got Speaker's Corner Chris as well, and you could say what's up, tell us about your book or anything that you want to say before we get started.
Yeah, sure thing. So the main thing, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm Chris at Speaker's Corner. I go to Speaker's Corner and I give dawah to Muslims, particularly the Muslim da'is who need it so much. But these days, they don't really like hearing it and they tend to just run away. But yeah, what I've been working on lately is the Islamic dilemma. Thanks to David Wood and his work, and God Logic, and you, Jai, and DOC, and you, Chris, like everyone who's been involved in this, all your great work has inspired me to write a book on the Islamic dilemma. It's because I've noticed there just isn't a book on it. There's no like main book on the Islamic dilemma if you want to read about it. So I thought, hey, I could do this. So yeah, the book is almost there. The first draft has been done, and I just need to get someone in to make some book cover art for me. And then I will publish it early 2026, looking at around February or March time. So you should totally check that out and buy the Islamic Dilemma book if you're interested.
Well, I know that I'm going to pre-order my copy of it. I'm really excited to read the first ever book on the Islamic Dilemma if David doesn't get there first.
Yeah. There's a little competition with who's going to get there first. We don't know exactly yet, but Chris is he thinks he's going to do it. So,
but to be fair, I'll buy one and Jai will buy the other one.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I got two questions for Mr. Chris at Speaker's Corner.
Sure.
First question would be, could people have a signed autographed book?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah. So I've thought about this a little bit because there's a friend of mine, Daniel Apologetics, and he did the same kind of thing. He gave me a copy of his book, which is...
I did the same thing with Anthony Rogers too.
Ah, nice. And he actually did I won't show you it because it's like a really lovely message, and it's mine, so you guys don't get to see it. But yeah, it's something I thought, yeah, I could probably do that for people. So if you come to Speaker's Corner and you see me and you'd like to have a book signed, then yeah, I'd love to do that for people. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right on. And my other question is, now that we know that you are going to be publishing this book in the start of next year, did Dean Responds start his book after he heard you were writing a book on this?
I have heard somewhere that he's writing a book. But to be honest with you, I'm actually at the point where I don't believe them because I've known so many Muslim da'is say they're writing books, and it goes on and on and on, and it never happens. So I don't know. I mean, maybe he will, but I doubt it. He doesn't strike me as the sort of person that can write a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can.
No, I would agree because Hamza says the same thing about a book on the Pharisees or something he was supposed to be writing. That never come to fruition either.
Yeah. And he's got his twin that's supposed to be writing a book too, right? What's his name? Fontaine. Yeah, he's supposed to be yeah. And then Chris Claus and I know of another imam who's supposed to be writing. He's another author. Oh no, he did actually write a book. Kenny wrote a book, right? He did write a book. So yeah, they're all aspiring authors, but I think
do they have ghostwriters? Because they can't write, surely.
I don't know. I mean, now that ChatGPT is a thing, I think we gotta, maybe
I see.
That's possible.
Yeah, maybe that's a thing now. So
last time I heard Dean Responds got his conscious edits from ChatGPT. So hey, maybe he's getting some of his book ideas from it too.
I heard that.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's your stream?
Yeah, if you guys want to check that out, by the way, One Way Apologetics is tagged in the description. I think it's not the most recent, but the second to last, I believe, live stream. You guys will see that stream where, yeah, some Muslims let us know what's going on behind the scenes and who
Yeah.
ChatGPT is, helping out behind the scenes.
Yeah, apparently they get their arguments from there, but that
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
If anybody does want to know about it too, it's the Dawa drama live stream that was the last aired live stream this week. So the last live stream that says Dawa drama, you want to get into that one. But if you want to just like binge watch the Dawa dramas, they're all funny.
Yeah. Oh, do you have a playlist of those, by the way? That'd be good
No,
if
I'm gonna make one later tonight on the Dawa
I would do
drama.
that. Yeah, that's a good. I would do that. Get a playlist of Dawa dramas. All right. So, Chris, Speaker's Corner, Chris, I think you're going to say something, and then we'll go to the next caller, or
Wait,
we'll go
what's
to the first caller.
Yeah, the first Muslim one, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no, bring him up. I had I wasn't gonna say anything.
All right. So I got these cool. Let me see.
Christmassy background thingies.
There you go. So let's bring them up. Okay, Hamid, welcome to the stream.
Hey, welcome.
Hi, how
All
are
of
you?
you. It's nice to be here. It was for a while, but
Yeah, how are
I
you,
was-
Hamid?
Yes, I'm good, sister. How are you guys?
We're good.
We're good.
Doing good. God bless.
So if you guys don't know Hamid, he's been on the stream before. He's been on IP's stream a couple times as well. Why don't you tell us a little about your
yourself.
relationship with the Islamic dilemma, because it's a very interesting story, I think, and we're really curious to see where you're at. So you tell us what you think we should know.
Yeah, as you guys know, this Islamic dilemma is something that is not at least right now there is no solution for this. So I try to figure out what's going on, because I myself is a Muslim and I originally come from Afghanistan, but now I live in Sweden, so I have this opportunity to openly investigate this issue, how things are the way that they should be. So when I was listening to the videos that you guys providing, the basic idea is that the message of the Quran is not in line with the message of the Bible. That's why, on the one hand, so the Quran affirm the previous scriptures, but on the other hand, it contradicts. So if the Quran is right about, so in either way, so it will be a problem for the Quran, but not for the Bible. And then I'm thinking about that yes, it is true. If the Bible teaches what you guys claim. So for that reason, I try to take this journey. So I have talked with my local church here to start the Bible school, at least for 1 year, to learn about Christianity, because I don't know so much about the Bible. So I want to learn how things are.
All right, I'll hand it over to both of the Chris's. However you guys want to take this, since you guys know his background, where he's coming from.
I'll let Chris, the Speaker's Corner, go first today.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's good that you're investigating this, and it's good that you've realized the strength of the Islamic dilemma. You're right that there is no coherent response to it. It brings a lot of issues for a lot of Muslim leaders, because for centuries, going back to the 8th century at least, Muslims have tried to give answers, but they can't. It's a really difficult problem, and this is something that's known in academia. It's known everywhere. So I guess really the thing is, you've got to decide what you want to do, because if you're a Muslim, or you were a Muslim and you're wondering where to go next, I would invite you to look more closely into the person of Jesus, because as a Muslim, you supposedly learn a lot about Isa, as you call him, but really you're learning from it 600 years removed. Really, you want to go back to the earlier sources that we have and use those to get an understanding as to who Jesus is and exactly what did he do, why did he do it, and what does it mean for you today. And I think that's a really exciting journey. I remember when I was an atheist many years ago now, and when I became a Christian, it was very exciting for me to read the Gospels, to read all about history. Apologetics was a really big thing for me, and it was an exciting journey. So I'd love to see you take some steps towards that. Have you read the gospel or a gospel? Like, have you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John?
Yeah, the first book that I have read is the Gospel of John,
Okay.
and then Jai and my sister asked me to read the book of Romans. So I read the first 2 chapters of the book of Romans. So when I read the book, the Gospel of John, so I try to like, I personally try to like figure out if there is an alternative interpretation, but it is very hard. Like some verses in the Gospel of John are very hard to like either to interpret them metaphorically or figuratively. So that's why I said that it is not easy to say. Like what I'm trying to say is that at least the Gospel of John that I have read is present Jesus as someone more than a man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I said that, okay, if the Bible teaches that Jesus is somebody more than a man, and the Quran doesn't teach that, so here we will have a problem. And that's why I try to take 1 year of Bible school to like learn about all the things that can help me to figure out what's going on.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you're right. You've made the observation that Jesus is not just a man in the Gospel of John. He's not in the other Gospels either, but John is very forceful with getting this point across. I mean, his whole Gospel starts off with talking about the incarnation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and then the Word became flesh. It's pretty explicit, right? So,
Yeah, that verse,
Hmm.
like when I read that verse, I even went to the gw.org, which is Jehovah
Oh
Witness,
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
to try to like figure out what is their understanding of that verse. Because when I read that verse, I sit with myself, I say, okay, let me try to like if I can find a meaning other than what it has traditionally been understood. So I went to the GW.org, so I tried to find an explanation. So even their explanation, which like they don't believe that Jesus is God, but it's still their explanation is not satisfactory. So what I'm trying to say, for example, we have the Jews, like the Old Testament is a Christian term, so they call it like the Tanakh, the Jews. So at least there we have an alternative interpretation. So for the New Testament, we don't have at least what I'm trying to find. So if we could have, at least we could have say like, okay, here we have an alternative interpretation which gives a Unitarian version of God. So that's why there is some kind of solution for the Islamic dilemma. But we don't have it. So that's why it's very like stressful.
Well, you know what's really interesting? If you look at early Christian heretical movements, you'll find that none of them line up with Islam. So you can go from, so like, let's name a few different ideas about who Jesus is according to early heretical Christian movements. So you had a movement that was favoring adoptionism. So this is the idea that Jesus was a man, but then he was adopted to be the Son of God, right? Usually they say like at his baptism or something. And then there's other ones that say, well, maybe God is like 3 different modes. He's one moment he's a father, then he's the son, then he's the spirit, and that's modalism. That's another early heresy. And then, you know, by the 4th century, you have Arius. And Arius is kind of recognizing that Jesus is exalted to this very high status, but he doesn't feel comfortable with saying he's homoousios with the same nature as the Father. Every heresy that we have had as part of the Christian tradition, like going all the way back, every single one is incompatible with Islam. Because every single Christian heretic, so people who are not agreeing with us at all, you know, they wouldn't be Jehovah's Witnesses because Jehovah's Witnesses are quite a new thing, but the same kind of idea. They would acknowledge that Jesus is hugely venerated. He's not just a man. He's not just an average person or like an average prophet. He is something very unique and very different and separate from the rest of creation. They would just argue about what that is. But none of that fits with Islam. And that's why it's so interesting, because the Islamic dilemma, we can just look at history and be like, hang on, there has never been an Islamic Jesus. There has never been one. Like Muhammad basically designed an Islamic Jesus and he introduced it to the world. Before that, no one had this idea. Muhammad came with a very unique interpretation that is 600 years removed, supposedly comes from revelation that he received that he couldn't demonstrate, he couldn't do miracles, he couldn't validate what he was saying, but he came up with this crazy alternative that no one else before him had ever believed. And that to me shows just how weak the Islamic position is when we talk about who Jesus is. Because it's not as if they can say, yeah, but here's some group, 2nd century or something like that basically believed the same thing. No, none of them did. You see what I mean? Like there's just no continuity. Islam doesn't have any continuity to the Christian tradition in that sense, because it introduces this radically different idea about who Jesus is, but can't back it up.
Yeah. I have one question for you guys. For example, I personally think that if we see an alternative interpretation of how we understood the Bible, like let's say that if we just, for the sake of the argument, if we accept the Unitarian understanding of Christianity, do you think that the Islamic dilemma has been solved, or it is still a problem?
It is still a problem, immensely. So some people may have heard I'm writing a book on the Islamic dilemma, and one of the things I'm trying to deal with is we have Sunni Shia Islam, so Orthodox Islam, and then we also have people who are Quran only, and they tend to be a lot more critical, and they'll look at the Quran through a critical lens. So they'll say things like, the Quran might not necessarily deny Jesus is the Son in a certain way, right? Which is not what Sunni Shia say. They say no, it does, absolutely, but they take a more critical reading of the text, and they're not prohibited to the hadiths and these other narrations that the Sunni and Shia are. But in this Islamic dilemma book I'm writing, I've written it so that it addresses both Shia and Sunni and Quran only critical Muslims, because there are aspects even in critical studies that are not going to be compatible. One example I would give is, say, for example, Jesus' teaching in the Gospels on marriage, and contrasting that with the Quran's teachings on marriage in heaven, in Jannah. So in the Quranic view, you have spouses in Jannah, and there are carnal things. You can do sexual activities. But Jesus in Matthew 19 and in the other synoptic Gospels, he teaches quite explicitly that, no, in heaven, you are like the angels. You're not in marriage. And that's quite a different teaching to what Muhammad teaches in the Quran.
Yeah, because the reason that I try to understand this, for example, first of all, is that when it comes to the Muslims' understanding of the Bible, so it is quietly in two ways. So the majority, like, they believe that the text of the Bible has been changed, but there is a minority, which I'm also in this minority. We believe that the text is sound, only the interpretation has been changed, and that is because of that. Joy, if you can please, brother, if you can put one verse of the Quran from Surah 2, verse 62.
You say Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 62?
Yeah, just pulling it up now. Yep.
Yeah, if you can please.
I know what this verse is.
Yeah, because
it's interesting.
here,
Okay.
in this verse, as you guys can see, so here it seems, at least the plain understanding of the text, that you Christians can have your faith and still be saved according to the Islamic, according to this verse. So that's why I'm saying that maybe the Quran, when it criticizes the Jews and Christian, it doesn't criticize that their text of their book has been changed or corrupted. Maybe it is how they understood those texts. Because otherwise, like, why, if like the Quran say that the Bible has been corrupted, why here it says that you guys are still be saved?
That's a very good point, and I make this point quite explicitly. The Quran holds the Christians and Jews accountable to their scriptures. And that only makes sense if the Jews and Christians can have salvation through their scriptures, right? Through the Torah, through the gospel, the Injil. And if you think about this, this verse is not just going to be mentioning the scriptures at the time this verse is revealed, but it would also include the time before that. So before the Quran even comes around, the Christians and Jews would still be accountable to follow their scriptures. So what that would mean is the Christians and Jews who have the Torah and the gospel with them, say, for example, 50 years before Muhammad was born, they would have the capacity to read those texts and to act out the law of Moses, for example, the law of Christ as we understand it. They would be able to have correct salvific beliefs according to those texts in order for this verse to be true. And that to me means that they would have to know. So, for example, if a Muslim wants to say, look, these texts are corrupted, right? You know, the gospel's been corrupted, the Torah's been corrupted. Maybe there's truth in there, but, you know, there's also lots of falsehood. The issue with that, though, is you got to ask, kind of a second, but these Christians and Jews back then didn't have the Quran because the Quran hadn't been revealed yet. So how could they even possibly know what part was true and what part was false according to the Islamic view? And the answer is, of course, they couldn't know. So that to me is very strong reason to believe that the Quran does think that our scriptures, both at the time of Muhammad and before, the Torah and Gospel, are sound. They are wahi, they are revelation, and they are salvific, as you've pointed out.
Yeah, I have also come to that conclusion because when I was asking myself, I said to myself, okay, let me think for a moment that I'm a Christian. And then in Surah 5, when it says that let the people of the gospel judge by what God has revealed therein. So I asked myself, okay, on the one hand, it says that I should judge by the gospel, but on the other hand, my fellow Muslim says that it has been corrupted. So as a Christian, how should I know? Because Christians don't believe in the Quran. So Muslims can say that, okay, I know which part of the Bible has been corrupted and which part has not because of the Quran. But Christians, they don't believe in the Quran. And the verse doesn't talk about Muslims to judge by the gospel. It talks Christians to judge. So when I ask myself, okay, as a Christian, how do I know what part has been corrupted and what part hasn't? So that's why I said that the text must be sound. And before I take other people's time, so I just have one more question and then I can leave. So one of the questions that sometimes I take it a little bit seriously. You guys know that there are a lot of Christians who are Trinitarian Christians, but they still believe that Muhammad is the apostle of God, or at least they believe that Muslim and Christians worship the same God. Because, for example, one of them is Miroslav, which I have read his book. He has written a book called Allah, a Christian Perspective. So even he is a Trinitarian, so he still argues that the Quran doesn't deny the Trinity, so we worship the same God. So I just want to know, like, what do you guys think that there's something wrong with those Christians?
So I'll just add my perspective here. One thing I have heard, and I can't vouch for this because it's just something that I've heard, but there are Christians who live in places that are majority Muslim, and they tend to be either Oriental Orthodox or Eastern Orthodox, and they, for the sake of peacemaking, will choose to accept the idea that Allah is the same God in a sense, in order, because otherwise they basically have to say, no, our God is the true God, your God is the false God. And obviously saying that in a Muslim majority place is probably not going to help a lot of people. I've heard that. Another thing to point out as well is that the Quran's perspective on this is that we do have the same God. The Quran has quite a few, well, maybe 2 or 3 verses in it where it makes it quite clear that our God and the Islamic God is the same God.
Yeah.
Which is intriguing, really, given that, again, our scriptures and our belief is like a triune God, but they supposedly reject a triune God. And just to add a little bit more, you said that there are some people that will say the Quran teaches the Trinity. You can make this point from a critical perspective. Again, Sunni Shia, they won't accept that. They will take Surah An-Nisa, Ayah 171, Surah Al-Ma'idah, Ayah 116. They will take those and they will interpret those to be like, no, this is denying the Trinity. But if you go outside that tradition, you can potentially look at the Quran as being as a book denying certain kinds of Trinitarianism or ways of understanding Trinitarianism. So those are just some options. But yeah, I don't know, Chris Claus, if you want to add anything, or Giant DOC.
No, I think that's a beautiful answer.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, Hamid. Yeah, I just want to let you know. Sorry, just scrolling down to see your name. But sorry about that. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I know that you said you were looking into like Jehovah's Witnesses as well, and you also just now said like there are other Christians that are don't believe in the Trinity. I just want to let you know that from a Christian perspective, that the only Christians are those who believe in the Trinity, and that's like definitional for what it means to be a Christian. So, like Speaker's Corner Chris was laying out for you earlier, there were like these early councils, and they distinguished between what. By the way, just for some background noise, I'm just going to mute you as I talk, just because there's some background noise there. But well, you're still here, but it's just muted for the time being. That's the Hamid. So yeah, like he was saying, there was early Christians who would distinguish between this is what true Christianity is, and these are groups that are not Christian. These are called heretics, or other names that they would give them. So just to be clear on that, but I know you're still very early on in your journey. You're still learning, and that's something that you'll pick up as you keep studying. But yeah, it sounds like you're definitely heading in a good direction here, and I think that the best thing that you can do is like what Chris started with, was saying like just come to Jesus. That's the best thing you can do, because I know you're trying to like salvage Islam and the Quran and stuff through this, but you'll see it doesn't work, and that's just the reality of it. The Quran, you can't put them both together. This is why we call the Islamic dilemma, because there are contradictions. And I understand that that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to see like, is there really this dilemma? Like, are there really contradictions? Because I'm pretty sure that you're of the position that the Quran doesn't deny the crucifixion of Jesus, and it's like compatible with him resurrecting. Obviously, it doesn't talk about like why he would have died on the cross, or if there's an atonement or any. It doesn't talk about that, but you'd probably be open to those ideas. The problem is though, like there's so many core doctrines of Christianity, things that the Bible teaches very clearly, like God being the Father, Jesus being the Son, and the Quran denying those things. No way to get around those things. But I think these are things that you'll keep discovering as you go. But it's been interesting to kind of follow your journey as you've been calling in IP stream and this stream. And so yeah, thanks for joining us today. And I think that was your last question, right? And you can just
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, I just want to say very shortly that I am very interested in the Trinitarian Christianity, because the reason that I mentioned Jehovah's Witnesses, I just wanted to say that I wanted to find an alternative. But once I read about their explanations, it was not so convincing.
Okay.
And now, as I talked with my local church, so this is the Trinitarian Christianity that I'm going to investigate this year. So
Great.
thank you guys that allow me to at least express myself. And if you guys have anything, any suggestion, so
yeah, just quickly before you go.
I just want to say something about the name of God, because you asked about whether it's the same God of Christians, the same God of the Bible, and the same God in Islam. If since you're reading the Bible, go to Exodus 3. Okay, Exodus chapter 3, and this is when Moses asked God of his name, and then God said to him, his name is I am who I am, which is
yeah.
Okay, and he said, say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. So when he said, he would say he is, when Moses talked, he would say
first person,
and that would be Yahweh.
third person. He is.
He
like
is.
Yahweh,
So
yeah.
he said to the people, Yahweh, meaning he is. The name of God is Yahweh. That name Yahweh is nowhere in the Quran, is nowhere in Islam, anywhere. So it makes no sense it's the same God who would forget his name, the name that he told Moses. So when I read this, I realized it's not the same. Now the Arab Christians would use Allah just because of the limitations of language. Over centuries, they use Allah for the name of God. But if you go to the before Islam came, you wouldn't find anywhere in the Hebrew or Greek languages, the languages of the Bible, anywhere where the name Allah
As a name.
as a
yeah.
name, it would be Yahweh. They would call him Jehovah or the Lord. So that's how I know it's not the same one. And why isn't Yahweh anywhere in the Quran? That's the name that God gave to Moses when he said, "Who should I say?" It was his name that sent me. So that's all I want to say to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sister. I just want you guys to give me, if you have any solution, because there is one personal thing that is a little bit stressful for me, is that because I have been, until today, I've always believed that the Jews, Christian, and Muslims have the same God, and they are basically brothers and sisters in faith as well as in humanity. So how should I not be stressful if, as you guys believe, that these three communities don't worship the same God?
Do you mean as in like if you have loved ones who are in different communities, or how do you mean by that?
I believe that two communities do worship the one God and the one community doesn't.
Okay. So, because as I was talking with some of my Christian friends, they told me that since our God is triune, and the Jews and Muslims don't believe in a triune God, that's why they have different gods. And when I said that, I always believe, since as Chris mentioned, that the Quran says that our God and your God is one and the same. So that's why it is a little bit personal, but I have decided to go on my journey, so to figure out where things go.
And Hamid, the Jewish people that you would talk to today don't represent the Judaism of 2,000 years ago and even before that. Even just looking into the Targums, which would be the Jewish understanding of their scriptures. In Genesis chapter 127, it says, "And God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female, he created them," right? But if we look into the Jerusalem Targum, it actually says, "And the word of the Lord created man in his likeness. In the likeness of his presence of the Lord, he created him. The male and his yoke fellow, he created them." So it's just modern day Judaism that would reject the triune nature of God.
Hamid, you could just unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah. So those things that the brother mentioned, I don't know so much. So, but I have taken this Bible study. So this new year that coming 2026. So I hope that I understand things better and better, because I don't know the Bible as much as I know the Quran. So I just want you guys to what if there is one thing that I should focus, what is that I need to focus, that to learn things better without any being distracted?
I think the number one thing that we would all say, which we have already, is you have to focus on Jesus.
Yeah,
that's what you have to focus on. And you do that by, I think, what you're already doing, studying the Gospels, right?
Yeah.
And continue to read and ask God as you're reading, God, just continue to show me the truth. Show me the truth and I'm willing to follow it no matter the cost, no matter the consequence. And just keep praying that prayer, and God will honor that prayer. Just seek. Your mission is to find out who Jesus is. That's your life mission right now. that's what you're gonna do. So that's what we'd all encourage you to do.
Yes, thank you so much. So I don't want to take other guests' time. So I'm going to update you guys in the future live streams.
Okay.
So if you have any questions about Christianity, then I will join you guys. So thank you so much to Chris and to the brother and to Joy and to my sister. Have a very good night.
Okay,
You too, Hamid.
Thanks for joining us.
God bless
We're
Hamid.
praying for you.
All right, so we have guys Naz. Hopefully we get a good conversation with him, but I remember last week we had him on, but all right, let's bring Naz up. Hey Naz, welcome to the live stream. Naz, you there?
Hi mate, yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, hey Naz.
Hi, how's it going?
That's going good. These guys seem to know you. I can't remember if I've spoken to you before. Are you a Muslim or?
I spoke to him last night, so I'll let you talk to him, Chris.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Hi, you all right, Chris?
Hi. So
Yeah, I
you
did
Muslim,
actually. I
or?
did speak to you last week. You must have
Yeah,
short
he did.
memory.
Yeah, I
I
was
spoke to you
gonna
last
say.
week.
Yeah, Chris, he actually did.
We had
speak
like a
to you,
long
Chris. He did
back and
speak to you
forth.
last week. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome. Sorry, man, I forget like all the conversations I have. I'm terrible at it. How have you been?
Okay, no worries.
You looking
So
forward to
why-
Christmas?
All good.
So why you keep going to Christian live streams now? I'm just interested.
You like debating the Islamic dilemma?
Yeah, you like speaking to us.
No, you guys are running, the Islamic dilemma show, and obviously it's about my religion. So yeah,
You want to talk about the Islamic
Here I am.
dilemma?
Don't the Muslim channels talk about the Islamic dilemma?
Yeah, actually they don't. Not as much.
So what have you learned? What have you?
But doing
been thinking
dawah
about?
and defending your religion is upon every Muslim, not just like someone who's in the dawah field. Dawah is incumbent on every Muslim.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you have you been having some thoughts about the Islamic dilemma? Like, have you thought about anything like that you think refutes it, or shows that it's false, or anything like that?
So like, Surah 3, Ayah 71 is like further, criticizing the people of the book. O people of the book, why do you mix the truth with falsehood and conceal the truth while you know?
So let's unpack that, right? Because that's quite important, because we probably went through it last week as well. There are many verses in the Quran that talk about the people of the book in a negative sense because they supposedly conceal their scriptures or they distort them in some way. But remember what we said before: to conceal something or to just distort it implies that you actually have it in a preserved form, right? Like, if I'm concealing something, I actually need to have it in order to conceal it. So that's one aspect of what the Quran is doing. It's telling us, the people of the book, Christians and Jews, you guys are doing bad stuff. You're hiding and concealing and distorting your scriptures. Okay. The other aspect of what the Quran does is it appeals to the people of the book by virtue of their scriptures. The Torah and the Gospel are named explicitly, and it says that Muhammad is sent to confirm them, and that the Quran is in continuity with them, and that therefore they ought to follow their scriptures because it would lead them to believe Muhammad is a prophet in line with Abraham, Moses, Noah, and all the other prophets.
Yep.
So we got two categories here. Right. So I agree with you. The Quran has a very scathing opinion of people of the book in terms of their actions, especially rabbis, priests, and monks, especially those guys. But in terms of the scriptures that we have, the Quran loves our scriptures, and the Quran is banking on our scriptures. There are verses in the Quran that say that we recite our scriptures with its true recital. That's Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 121. We can look at Surah Al-Imran, Surah 3, ayah 199. These verses make it clear that there are Christians and Jews who have their scriptures and they are following them faithfully. But that's again in contrast to a lot of others that aren't. But because there are some that are, and because the Quran praises them for that, it says it as a good thing, good that they are doing this, that implies our scriptures are faithfully preserved and authoritative.
Yeah, so where it's praising them, yeah. So even at the end of Surah Al Imran, 199, it praises the people of the book, because they believe in what was revealed to us and them, and they humble themselves for Allah and do not sell His ayat for a small price. Their reward is, surely with Allah. He's swift in accounting. And even, the earlier guests we brought up, like 262, I think.
Yeah.
So obviously people who believed in the scriptures at their time and before the coming of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they'll be, considered as believers, and because they believed in Allah, they believed in the last day and the revelation. So yeah,
So
where you're
would
saying they
you?
recited, and there's also a verse where they actually recite the Quran. Well, they recite the scriptures and they fall in prostration, like they
Yes,
humble
and
themselves.
it says that they
But
were Muslims, right? Even before the Quran, they were Muslims in submission to Allah. So it's interesting. You have people of the
so the
book.
Jews at the time of Moses
Yeah.
were Muslims. The the the, the people at the time of following
Yeah, so both at
all
the
the way
time
back.
of the prophets, but also at the time of Muhammad. And just so everyone knows, because in case people haven't noticed yet, there's a bit of delay between Naz and like us speaking. But yeah, it should be fine. So yeah, like that's right. But here's the thing, right? Is the Quran telling the people of the book that they are accountable to their scriptures before the Quran came?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think it does say that quite explicitly. Now, the issue that we're going to have here is how can the people of the book follow the Torah and the Injil, the gospel, if those books contain things that are not compatible with Islam, either Shia Islam, Sunni Islam, or Quran only Islam?
Yeah, I think so. We did go over this like last time. My position was that it was a case of substitution. So like the rabbis, the learned scholars of the people of the book, they're writing it with their own hand, or whether they're reciting it in their places of worship and misleading people and saying this is from Allah when clearly it's not. And then I brought up, like, for verse 515, and also I've just given you 371 now, where they mix truth and falsehood. And even in Surah Jumu'ah, one of the like short surahs, was the end of the Quran where the Jews, like, Allah strikes a parable where they're carrying books, like donkeys carry books on
Yeah,
their
Surah
backs,
62.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't avail them anything. So like, although they may have the book, but because they're not following the guidance within it, it's like donkeys carrying books, but
Right.
obviously they
What does it avail
don't.
to them,
So it's
right?
like a parable,
Yeah, what good is
right?
it? They have these books, they have the Torah in this context, because I think that's specifically about the Jews, and yet they're not following it. But here's the thing: what you just said there in no way addresses the issue that I present, right? Because the issue is that they have these books in their possession that explicitly contradict the Quran. So what you've mentioned is that there are people substituting this book, maybe the Torah or the Gospel or both, with other books, and the Quran condemns them for it. Yes, I definitely agree the Quran does indeed do that. But the Quran also says that they have the actual preserved revelation in their possession, and they are accountable to following it. So how do you resolve that? How do you resolve the fact that Quran affirms the Torah and Gospel that they had in their possession, but also contradicts that Torah and Gospel they had in their possession?
Yeah, for example, so obviously every Muslim, we have a Quran in our household. So if I just leave that on the shelf and like just like revere it, but never open it, never seek the guidance in it, then I don't know how to go about living my life and following the rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid out in the Quran. So the book is there, It's there, it's on the shelf, but it's not being used. So I think that parable where in Surah Jummah, like where it's like the donkeys carrying books on their back, it's kind of alluding to that. So that although they have the book, and because they're not actually using the actual books that were revealed to them, but writing books from their own hands and like misleading the masses to say that this is from Allah, where they've mixed truth and falsehood. So Allah Ta'ala subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling them out for this. And then even in Surah Baqarah, because Surah Baqarah basically is kind of dealing with the Jews, and Surah Imran is dealing with the Christians. So yeah, in Surah Baqarah, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala quotes them as saying, وَسَمِعْنَا وَعَصَيْنَا. So like we hear and we disobey. But like in the Jewish, in Hebrew, I think, or in the what saying actually means like we obey. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He picks up on that. So like although with their tongue they are saying we hear and we obey Allah's commands, but He actually catches their intentions within their hearts that they actually don't mean what they're saying with their confessing with their tongues.
I
That is then
totally
kind of
agree.
captured in Surah Baqarah. That
I
because obviously al-sayna is very similar in the Hebrew and Arabic, and then therefore towards the end of Surah Baqarah, the Muslims they like commanded to say وَسَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. So we hear and we obey to the commands of Allah. So again, like it's a
right.
bit of a wordplay, but it has like that deeper connotation to it as well.
Yeah. So
Again, showing that
again,
Allah's aware of like the previous scriptures.
I'm going to say, like, I completely agree. That is in the text. It does say that. By the way, that's actually a close reference to something we find in the Torah. So that hear and we obey thing is found in the Torah in a particular passage. So that's another evidence to believe that the Quran is aware of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy as the canonical understanding of the Torah in the 7th century and before. But again, remember, what you're saying, though, is just what people say. There is a world of difference between what I say, Chris the Speaker's Corner says 2 + 2 is 4, or whatever, and then what I've written in a book. If I have written in this book and I write something else, I write 2 + 2 is 5, right? And then someone else or some other book comes along and confirms this book, but they say something different. They say 2 + 2 is 4, but this book says 2 + 2 is 5. It doesn't matter what I say because the book says 2 + 2 is 5, and whoever else is confirming it, but they say something different. Do you see the dilemma? That the problem isn't to do with like what the Christians and Jews are saying. The dilemma is the fact that in their scriptures it explicitly says something which the Quran explicitly contradicts. So it's got nothing to do with what Christians are saying or Jews are saying. That's a separate point. The only use for like what Christians and Jews are saying is potentially a way of establishing what the Christians and Jews think the scripture is. But beyond that, it's not really relevant for this discussion because what's written is what we're focusing on because that's the key point, right? I don't care what Christians and Jews and rabbis and whatever are saying, then it's irrelevant. They can have their own opinions. What's important is scripture. What does it say? In the same way, like a Muslim could say anything about the Quran, you wouldn't really care because what you're concerned with is what does the Quran actually say? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand your stance, but you see, obviously, like the scholars, the Rabbanis, they are the people, because obviously when the previous revelations when they came down, or even the Quran when it came down, it was delivered to the respective prophets, but then to propagate it to the masses, that was then down to obviously the disciples, the Sahaba, and then the scholars who inherit the knowledge. So it is very important what they say and what they do, because then basically they're propagating a false message. And obviously at that time, people didn't have access to books readily available like they do now. So, and they believed and revered, the scholars and, people high up, and they followed what they said because, A, they were, illiterate, and because they revered them so much, they followed, and they kind of just, they took it from their word that, they're an upstanding person, they're truthful. But this is where
So,
Allah Ta'ala is calling them out and trying to
right.
bring like the people back to the right message
I
of
understand
true
that.
monotheism.
I get what you're saying. But again, remember the Quran, and you actually gave the verse, Surah 62, Ayah 5. where it talks about the Torah as a book. It's a written thing. And Surah 7, Surah Al-Ruf, Ayah 157, makes it clear that the Torah and the Gospel are written texts at this point in time, at Muhammad's time. So again, the Quran acknowledges these are written. It doesn't think that it isn't trying to address an oral tradition. It's addressing written texts, and that's the problem, because we know what the written texts would have been in the 7th century. We can just do a historical analysis on the places that Muhammad, his companions and wives interacted with, and we know what they believed. We have manuscript evidence of what people in Ethiopia had as the Gospels, and that those Gospels are what we have today: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They even had icons of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the evangelists, in the manuscripts. Muhammad, he had his companions and wives go to Ethiopia in about 615, 618 AD as part of the first Hijrah, and they spent many years there interacting with Christians. So they would have known what the Christians held as scripture.
But there you're arguing from silence, because there's not much reports on that, because obviously that was the early Meccan period, and that obviously, you know, Jafar radiallahu anhu, the cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did, you know, like give a sermon in front of Najasi, and he was like quoting from Surah Maryam, and obviously in Surah Maryam is, you know, clear, like, you know, he says he's a messenger of Allah. He's, you know, Allah gave him the kitab and he spoke from the cradle. So
yeah,
there's no account of it either, you know, being criticized as
right. What
that,
I'm trying to get across to you, though, is that so it's called the Garima Gospels. If you Google the Garima Gospels, you'll find the manuscripts we have from Ethiopia that date to the 4th to the 6th century. So you're talking a few hundred years before Muhammad. We know what these Gospels were. We know what they say. And so we know what the Oriental Orthodox Church in Ethiopia at the time believed the scriptures were. Again, it's not just Ethiopia, by the way. That's one example, and it's a really good one, because many companions and his wives went there. And there's traditions that say what they did. They went to churches. His companions and wives went to Christian churches in Ethiopia during the Hijrah, sorry. And yeah, they encountered these churches, and they talked about how there was icons in there, and they were very upset that there were icons there. The icons could have been of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because that's a tradition we have in Christianity. So, I mean, we could keep going on. In Yemen, so we're talking about south of the Hijaz, we have Najran, the people of Najran. They came and they met Muhammad, and they debated with him, according to Sunni tradition. The issue with this is that we know what the people of Najran, Christians, would have believed. They were Miaphysite Christians, and they were Christians that had migrated from Ethiopia decades before as part of the war that Ethiopia had with the Himyarite kingdom at the time. So again, history just shows us, yeah, we know what they would have believed. We know what they would have said scripture is. I mean, isn't it interesting that in your tradition, the Najran Christians don't say to Muhammad, sorry, the other way around. Muhammad doesn't say to these Najran Christians, you don't have the gospel, or your gospel's been corrupt, or your gospel's been substituted. Muhammad never says this. Wouldn't that have been like the most opportune time for Muhammad to correct this belief? Instead, they apparently argue over things like Christology, like the appropriate nature of Jesus. But they never actually argue for like whether or not the text is correct or not. Wouldn't you know? To me, I would think that would be one of the biggest things.
He's reciting the Quran to them. He's reciting
Why doesn't
the
he tell
Quran
them
to
their
them,
scriptures
and
have
you
been
know, Allah
altered?
speaks directly. Who better than to do that than, you know, Allah Himself? He's clearly them verses
Allah
I
doesn't do
mentioned.
it. No,
And just because
that's
again you're
what they're
under that
saying. It's
assumption,
not
them
the
books in
scriptures itself.
circulation, they have to be. Yeah, no, but you're taking that assumption. You're under that assumption that them books that were around in circulation, they have to be, you know, the Torah and Injil.
We
Whereas,
have them.
what I
We
draw
have
from the
manuscripts
verses
of
I've
them.
read.
We have manuscripts
and
of
so
what
if it's like
Ethiopic Christians held as the Gospels. And Muhammad's companions and wives went there and lived with them for many years. So how on earth did Muhammad not know this was a scripture that Christians had? He would have known the Christians had the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. He knows that was called the Injil. In fact, there are scholars that think the word Injil comes from a loan word from Ethiopic that eventually makes its way back to the Greek euangelion. Excuse me. So again, Muhammad, his companions, and his wives knew what the gospel was. So why does he never in the Quran, why does he never say it's something else, or it's corrupted, or don't follow it, it's not reliable, it's not from Allah, it's something different? He never says this. In fact, he says the complete opposite.
All right, Naz. Thank you for joining in again this week. I remember him for sure.
Yes, I remember as well. Yeah.
We had kind of ended like this last time as well, but we do appreciate you coming on. It just gets to the point where it sounds like you guys are like agreeing on almost everything.
And then you didn't even jump in.
And we're like, what exactly? It just seems like he kind of took like 3 different positions last week. Like,
yes,
okay,
that's
the
what
book on the
reminded me.
shelf. Yeah. So the book on the shelf is Allah's word. You guys just are keeping it there. You're hiding it.
Okay.
Then there's another position which is like, okay, the book is actually mixed with falsehood. So like, there's actually corruption in the book. Then there's another position which is that the book is just completely missing, gone altogether. So it sounds like he kind of stuck to
the shelf book on the shelf.
The shelf one this week.
Yeah.
But I agree, and the book on the shelf is the Torah and the Gospel, and we know what they look like, just like Chris said. So I agree that the people may have been bad, but the books remain, and that's what we have today. That's the dilemma, and those books say Jesus is God. So now where are you gonna go?
And Chris's argument shows that even it's weird that Allah actually calls Christians true believers. Weirdly enough, if you go to Surah 85, ayat 4-10, this is talking about the Najran Christians, and I believe that was the time of King Dunawas. I believe it was, and it's that they were martyred, and the Quran calls them true believers. We know that they believed in the Trinity, so
exactly.
Yeah, so it's a very difficult situation to be in when the Injil that you say is from God says Jesus is God. It's always done so to the Ethiopian Christians at Muhammad's time, to the Christians
Southern Arabia
and Southern Arabia in Yemen. They all believe the same thing. And even if you go through the tafsirs of the people of Najran, they would say something like Isa, obviously, or what the tafsirs call it Isa. They say he's God.
Yep.
And Muhammad didn't say that that's not in the Injil, and he didn't say that you've corrupted your Injil to say it. He just never says it. Okay, so
we'll just go through some super stickers / chats real quick, and then it looks like the Muslims have left, but we do have a bunch of Christians who want to come and ask questions or chat with us for a little bit. So we got another hour or so. So let's go through super chats real quick and see what people are going to say.
All right. So I can't say your name. I'm sorry. Nalid, super sticker. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that.
South Africa, I think.
South Africa, yeah.
Holy, God bless you. Is one of our usual friends here. Gifted a membership and another membership.
2 memberships.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
Devin, thank you so much. Hey, Giant Dog, can you check messages for first try?
For first try. Okay, yeah. So I got his email. I think what he means is he sent like a first draft of something.
Oh.
So he sent a first draft. He wants us to look it over. So yeah, time permitting, God willing, we will get to all the emails, not just yours, but all the emails we've been getting lately. By the way, we want to give a shout out to everybody who's been extremely helpful offering your services for different things. And so we really appreciate all you guys. We have another brother who's going through like all of the live streams, and he's trying to summarize them and then take screenshots of the sources so that one day if we ever get stuff on like a website, it'll be like stream right here. Here's all the notes. Here's all the sources, and people can just like download it. So really a lot of very resourceful people. So we'll really appreciate everyone reaching out for your help and everything in your assistance in all the different areas that God's gifted you guys in. So thank you for that.
Adabin.
Is that him again?
That's the same guy. Been very generous to us. Hey guys, Dr. Joanna Howe from Australia just did a video about the attack in Australia, calling out the government. She's usually an anti-abortion advocate. If you could please share.
Okay, well we'll look into that. Look into see what the video is about, right?
Yeah, I am not up to. I know there was an attack in Australia, of course, but I'm not up to what the government is doing and all that
Like
detail.
their response and
Yeah, their response. I hope it's good, but it doesn't look like it.
Do you guys know anything about that? I mean, besides the attack, like any sort of no, Chris. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
We'll look into it. Thanks for the recommendation there. Gifted 5 member, or Joseph gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much for that. And we got a new member here, Ronnie. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Peace and love to you. Thank you so much. God bless you and peace and love to you.
Super Wario, our Saidi friend, God bless you. What do you think about a stream where you review viewers' debate with Muslims? Also, may I come on and ask a polemic question that's not dilemma related? You can do whatever you like, my friend.
Well,
if you don't catch us this time, we're usually open for calls on Saturdays. Is that right?
Yeah, not Islamic dilemma related. Hopefully, it's not too far off topic though. But yeah,
You said a polemic question.
yeah. So viewers debates with Muslims. Viewers, I'm guessing you mean your debate. Probably you probably had a debate. We don't mind checking out debates. Chris over at One Way Apologetics also does a lot of reaction reviews as well. Really funny reviews too. I have to
He
say
does
that.
good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, if you like that kind of content, reviewing and reacting, I mean that's not all he does, but that's some of what he does, and it's some of what we do as well. And it's just yeah, fun stuff. So head over to there, subscribe, check it out. But yeah, if you have a debate, super, and you want us to check it out, we can definitely do that. And
that's what I was going to say too, Jay. If they ever want us to review their debate, just send us an email. Let us send the link into the email. Say you would love to see us do a review on your debate. If you have important parts where you want to have reviewed, just put it right in the email too. Like if you really want your opening statement done, then just put it in there. Because I normally like doing the cross examinations, because that's where you get the fire of the debate from, right? But if somebody has a great opening statement like J49er did, and how Avery did, and how David Wood did in his debate versus Alex, I like to highlight those things too. So when people go into other discussions, they just have more ammo to be able to go at their opponent with, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, definitely, yeah. Like Chris said, if you want us to highlight a specific part, but we'll review it first, and if we think that it's a debate that everyone can learn from and benefit from, definitely we'll check it out. It'll be on the list of things to do.
So the chat's saying that the Australian government said far right is the danger, not Islam.
Oh, really? Okay. So they sound like the
UK,
yeah.
and the rest of
I
us.
gotta say this, like I always find this so weird. It's always contrasted Islam versus far right, but in my mind, isn't Islam like far right? Like, isn't Islam like the most far right thing you could basically believe?
Let's see. They hate Jews. They hate gays. They hate transsexuals. They hate homosexuals. They hate unbelievers.
You said that. You said gays and homosexuals. You tried them.
Bisexuals, trisexuals,
all the sexuals,
transsexuals, anything. So yeah, it's very far right.
On the farthest right, the unhealthy side of the right, as you can go.
In fact, Hitler liked Islam.
There you go.
Yeah, he preferred it to Christianity. He called it the Mohammedan religion, and he was like, "Why can't we have the Mohammedan religion more than the Christian religion?" Yeah, he was a weird guy.
Yep. We got E here as a member for 3 months. We'll take one more, then get to some of your calls.
The last refuge for Muslims is the Islamic dilemma. Is the Muhaymin 548 meaning corrector? What is the best argument against that?
Oh, it doesn't mean corrector. That's the first thing. We'll correct that by saying it doesn't mean corrector.
I want a dictionary definition of Muhaymin. All you have to say is, okay, show me in a dictionary definition where Muhaymin is correct.
Yeah, well, you can do that, and then also focus in on the early commentaries. And so we've done plenty of streams on this channel and other channels. I think Inspiring Philosophy might have a dedicated video just on that topic because it comes up so much. And he has a dedicated video, so check that out. And basically the commentaries will say that it means like the preserver, the guardian,
The witness.
the witness, all of these things that don't say corrector or editor.
It means more agreeer.
Yeah, it's like agree.
And like covering it, witnessing over it, guarding
What-
it from.
Isn't Allah the Muhammad of the Quran?
That's right. Also,
Yeah.
Allah. Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
that's another angle you could take as well. So there's different Muslims who take different views on who is actually the Muhammad there. Is it actually Allah? Is it the Quran over the previous books? Is it Allah over the Quran? Or is it Muhammad over the Quran? You have all these different views from various Muslims.
Mhm.
And then you also have that, as Chris said, you have that as a name of Allah as well.
And Muhammad.
Yeah, and that doesn't, Muslims don't say that that means the
Corrector.
corrector. They say that it means like the witness or the, you know, the one,
guardian.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we could give you specific references right now because we have a document here, but in fact, I'll just quickly just pull it up. But anything you guys want to say while I just pull this up real quick?
So yeah, I'm gonna say a few things. So yeah, if you read Nicholas Sinai's critical dictionary, Arabic dictionary on this, the first thing he says is that it's very possible that Muhammad is just a synonym for Mosadiq. Like because they occur in the same. So 548, the word confirming and Muhammad occur in the same verse, basically. So he thinks it's just like a case of tautology, of just saying the same word in a different way because they're synonymous. So it's just a Quran emphasizing how much of a confirmer it is. So that's really interesting from Nikolai Sinai's perspective. What I find best with this is just to agree with the argument. Say, yeah, sure, why not? Let's grant that 548 means that it's some kind of criteria and that it's correcting things. Then you just go, okay, so the Quran's job is to correct the previous scriptures where they've erred, where they've erred, and the Quran is going to give the correct theological view, right? And then you just point out all the situations where the Quran doesn't do this or fails to do this. So the one I like to go to is Surah Al-Miriam, ayah 7, I think it's 7. It's quoting from Luke's Gospel, and it talks about the point where Zechariah has a son, John the Baptist, and he's told that when they come to pick the name in the Luke account, it says that no one in your family has ever had the name John before. But the Quran makes a mess of this, and instead it says no one has ever had the name Yahya before. And if you look at commentaries on this, they either do basically one or two things. Either they double down and they go, yes, no one has ever had the name Yahya ever, and you can look at history to show that that's absolutely obviously false. Or they go, hey guys, we've come across this like Luke book, and it says something kind of similar, but it says only in the family. And then they basically just borrow the Luke understanding to get out of this problem. And at this point, I'm like, hang on a second, isn't the Quran supposed to be a corrector? Shouldn't it have, why is it given a worse account of the same story? How can the Quran do that? How can the Quran fail to give the same account? It gives a worse account. It gives a more confusing account with less information. And of course, there's no answer to this for Muslims. They just have to say, well, this is just the way it is. And there's tons that can be said. I'll let Jai go on with this because I think you've got the stuff up.
Yeah, so these are just it's kind of like a gloss of the different meanings that we've seen from different commentaries. And then we have specific commentaries as well, but this is just like a gloss of like what they say the word Muhammad means. To be Muhammad over something means to be like a witness over something, or to be faithful over something, a confirmer over something, or confirming that thing, preserver of something, judge. You might think, oh, there you go, judge. Is it judging the truthhood from falsehood? What the judge here means, if you look at through like other commentaries, when the word judge is used, although it's not specifically defined in this context, judge is meaning as in, okay, if there's a law in the Injil and there's a law in the Torah, the idea is that, okay, what does the Quran say about that specific law? So if it differs, okay, it's judging over these issues. Okay, so let's say if those jobs, maybe they've been abrogated, or maybe they're only for certain communities. It's not judging as in, oh, you pick and choose what's false and true from that.
It's not judging it to be false or to be not from God or to be from human beings corrupting it.
Yeah. So And this is kind of other things that we have here. There's another, yeah, this is the other view that we were talking about. There's a variant reading, which instead of like, so the active reading would be like the active, like the participle would be like, it's doing guarding, it's guarding, it's a guarder, it's a guardian. That's the active. If it's passive, though, it's saying it guarded, like past tense, or it was guarded. So the idea is that if you read it in that passive, the passive participle form, that it's actually Muhammad who is the one that guarded, he's the guardian over the Quran. So the Quran is guarded over because why? Muhammad is guarding over it. And then this one, as a Makhshari actually said that it's Allah. Allah is the one guarding over the Quran in this passive reading.
Because in the Arabic it just says, and a guardian over him. Now, him in the Arabic can mean an object, like a masculine, or a person. So here they said the him is actually the Quran being guarded over, or Muhammad.
This is the Muhammad one here, yeah.
Yeah, that's because in Arabic there's no alayhi, could be a person or an object in the masculine form.
Yep. So, so this one is saying that it was guarded over means that Muhammad is a trustee over the Quran. So usually what you can do with these two views is acknowledge that these are not the mainstream views, but that these are views that serious Muslim scholars and linguists and even a companion here who've taken this view, like Mujahid, companion or a successor. I'm trying
a
successor. Sorry, he's a successor. Yeah, he's a successor, but he's a student of like Ibn Abbas and I think Ali as well. And but as a Makhshari, who although he's a Mu'tazilite, he's taken seriously in terms of his commentaries and linguistic abilities. He takes this to mean that Allah is the one who's the guardian. And so the idea here is that if the word guardian actually means corrector, then even if these are not the mainstream views, within these views, this would mean that Allah's correcting the Quran, or Muhammad corrected the Quran. Obviously, these people weren't arguing that. They weren't arguing that Muhammad or Allah corrected the Quran. I guess you could make a funny argument for like, Allah abrogating, like maybe he is like actually offering corrections. But
what about Muhammad?
Yeah, but Muhammad, I was like,
so it can't mean. Our point is these views are allowed because it can't mean corrector. Because then you end up with Muhammad correcting the Quran. These are people who knew what the Arabic meant at the time.
Yeah.
They couldn't have taken these views as Muslims if they thought it meant corrector, because now they're saying Allah's correcting the Quran, if it is that, or Muhammad is correcting it. And they didn't say that. They took it to mean guardian. That's why they said, oh yeah, Muhammad is guarding the Quran, he's guarding the message, he's relaying it to us correctly, and Allah is guarding the Quran, like from being corrupted, etc. So you can't have it both ways, is what I'm trying to say.
So here's like the recap, that however you want to translate Muhaymin, or the other reading, it's Muhaymin, like, so it's like I said, the passive form of the participle. So either the Quran is Muhaymin over the previous books, or the Quran is, this is another view, by the way, we didn't mention this one, the Quran is Muhaymin over Muhammad. That's another view. This is mentioned Al-Baghawi. Hassan also, he takes this view. And then Allah is Muhaymin over the Quran as a Makhshari, and then Muhammad is Muhaymin over the Quran, Mujahid. So all of these possible views according to just what the language says.
Given the verse in Surah 548, though, Jay, isn't it possible that the Muhammad mentioned there, the Quran, would be over the people, not just Muhammad?
Muhammad and alayhi is singular.
Singular, yeah.
Okay, because it says, so judge between them by what Allah revealed to you, and do not follow their inclinations away from what has come to you. The inclinations could only be in people, not a book, right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
Correct.
That's right. Exactly. So yeah, so this doesn't help them. Actually, this was one of the early on responses that they gave, and then they stopped giving this response because
they stopped it. Do you know why they stopped it?
Yeah, we just kept going into, like, they were like, oh, look at this commentary. So we went to the commentary, and every single time that they would say go to the commentary, it would contradict what they were saying because they Muhammad Hijab messed up on that one, and a couple of the other guys messed up on that one as well.
Let Muslims in. Can you please tell everyone? Can you tell this guy who we've been speaking to for the last hour before we went to the super chats? Were they
Just-
Hindu?
Did he answer his own question? He said the studio is full. Why aren't you allowing people in?
Because
it's full.
Look at what he says.
Wait, what?
When something is full, it means it's at capacity. The system stops you. Otherwise, we'll have thousands, and the system will crash.
Yeah.
So it's not our fault how technology works. And please tell Yusuf who's been on. What religion were they so far? That spoke to Chris, our brother Chris, and the other brother Chris.
I don't think we've had any Christians up yet. Only Muslims, hasn't it?
Exactly.
You're not letting Muslims in.
They've only been Muslims. So
we need to let them in faster. We need to give them like 30 seconds and then kick them and then move to the next one. And then it'll be
yeah. Actually, I remember there was a Muslim like last time who joined in late, I think, and I told him to come earlier. So that is actually a thing. Like, you do need to come at a certain time. Otherwise, like we can't just like kick people at random because we don't know like who's who, right? So even if we just wanted to make it strictly Muslims only, well, we would put that in the in the title of the description. But we know that Muslims are so far we've had a good night with the Muslims, but usually they don't stick around. So we do have to take Christians if we want to keep doing calls. So we have to mix it up. But because we do that, we can't just it's not like an endless queue for people to come into.
They don't realize Christians are quick. Christians are real quick. When you say that they can come up on stage and ask questions, man, if you ain't in here within the first 10 minutes, I'll almost guarantee you it's full. Like there was one time that I did an open call-in stream for God Logic to one time. And like I literally had to kick Christians out of the back channel just so I could let God Logic in. Like I should have waited until God Logic was in there before I put out the link, but I put out the link first. And I literally had to kick a few people just to get God Logic in, and then I didn't kick anybody.
Yeah. See? There you go.
Okay, let's move on from the.
All right, we'll bring up. Wait, was that another comment on the screen, or did you want to?
Oh, I thought we were going through super chat. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No. We'll bring up.
Should we bring up the next person who's been waiting? How long?
We got Daniel. Daniel, welcome to the stream.
Hi guys. I'm so glad I got to join you again. I called last week and I asked Chris about the situation in England.
I remember.
That's not, all right. But that's not what I'm calling now. What I'm calling now is I've been thinking a lot about this Islamic dilemma. And whenever I look into a topic like this, I like to, how can I put it, to look in that situation to the point that I'm able to a certain degree to argue for that problem. So in this situation, if I would be a Muslim, I'm thinking that a way that I would solve this would be that I would argue that the beginning of the Quran, if you think about it from a chronological perspective, I think maybe in the beginning, the first quote unquote revelation was aligning with parts of the Injil and the rest of the Bible that Muhammad heard till that point. But as the revelation progressed, it went further and further. So from a chronological perspective, would that make sense?
Wait, how do you mean by like went further and further?
From what I understand, the Quran is not chronologically written down, is
right.
it?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. So I have the impression that, let's say, in the beginning, he would hear certain stories, like about Joseph, about other what they call prophets, which is a very funny way of saying it. and then he would make similar story, like the Timu version of the same stories, and then be like, well, this is actually what happened, and if you check your book, see, it tells what I'm saying.
Sure, yeah.
But the more he gets in contact with Christians and Jews, and he doesn't get them on his side, even though he tells them, hey, look, I agree with you, Allah is telling him, hey, you see, you have the same books, you have to believe in the same things. But then as he makes it up as it goes, he realizes that, well, these things don't align, and then he just doubles down on it. So I would say, well, yeah, the beginning of the revelations aligned with the original Injil and Torah, but as time went on and more revelation came, it brought up the real message of Allah.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's definitely a potential candidate for how it went down. I mean, ultimately, we won't know. Did Muhammad realize he got things wrong, and so he had to kind of double down?
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
I mean, it's possible that he just never knew. He never realized. I mean, according to their traditions, like he knows Arabic, but he can't read and write. He's illiterate, and he doesn't know Syriac or Aramaic, so he's very dependent on what people tell him for information. Or if you take the Islamic account, he's very dependent on the revelation he gets from Allah, right? But it just so happens this revelation from Allah is contradictory and it's not coherent. Now, that to me is a very big sign that the author of the Quran is a human being, because the Almighty God would not forget what he previously revealed. He wouldn't reveal the Torah, tell a story of Joseph, for example, and then in the Quran tell the same story, but then get confused with the details and start borrowing from Syriac Christian accounts. Like, that to me is a very human thing to do. If it was the same author, because Allah revealed the Torah and Allah supposedly revealed the Quran would just quote the same story in the Torah. But it doesn't. It changes it for some reason, while simultaneously saying, this is confirming what you have. It even says in Surah 12, which is actually the same surah that has the story of Joseph in it, verse 111, in these stories is a valuable lesson for those of knowledge, which is hilarious to me because the story has Syriac Christian influence, as Gabriel Reynolds points out. So yeah, I mean, the historical Muhammad is kind of lost to us. We don't really know exactly who he is and what he was doing or what he was. All we can say is the Quran as it stands presents to us a very inconsistent and confused author who is a human, who is not God.
Yeah, for me personally, like I see this stories that Muhammad brings, and I'm Romanian, and in our culture we have a lot of stories that for many years I thought they were traditionally Romanian stories, but after reading about them a little bit more, I find out, oh well, this story is actually inspired from the Slavic folklore or from other folklores, and they were just brought orally to the Romanian culture, and then they were forwarded as Romanian and given a Romanian twist to it.
Yeah.
And I think something very similar actually happened there, because like you said, it's oral tradition. And then you take something like this and then you're like, oh well, I'll just give it a Arabian twist and make them our own. And then now is the discussion, okay, well, who came up first with it? And then it's just such a, like like everybody's saying, the internet is the worst thing that could have happened to to Islam.
Very much so.
So yeah, and I'm just putting myself, in their shoes in a sense, and seeing an issue like this, and you just like by default you have to dismiss it without, it's like you would write a book that would answer the Islamic dilemma, and you would just entitle it "Nah," and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's how they would do it.
Yeah. So, but this was what I was interested in. Like, okay, what was the chronological story of the revelation given to Muhammad?
Okay, so this is actually difficult. So I consider myself to be in the camp that I don't really believe that the Meccan Medinan distinction that scholars make is a viable one or a valuable one. I think it often confuses things because we have that understanding because of Islamic tradition, right? They look at their Quran and they say, well, because Muhammad lived in Mecca and Medina, some of the revelation must be Mecca and some must be Medina. And because there's like an occasion of revelation for the different ayah, the different verses, this must be important for the context. So we need to make this distinction. I wouldn't do that. There are other scholars who have, though. So there's the Naldikian chronological order, which is comes from an Orientalist called Naldiki. I think is how you pronounce his name. And he gives you an order of the earliest surahs to the later surahs. And Angela Newman is another scholar. She's modern. She's contemporary. She's also given her chronological order. So you have these two orders, and there's probably more, but those are the two big ones. And you have the traditional Islamic order. And they differ, right? Because they don't agree. The scholars disagree with exactly what order the surahs were revealed in. But you're right that I think the Quran did come over time, and I think there's evidence in the text that it did. It's just that I wouldn't rely on what Muslims say, like about Mecca, Medina distinctions and things like that. I'd be hesitant
because
to
that would answer a lot of questions about the evolution of the relationship between the texts that support, let's say, the previous revelations versus the current belief that no, everything was corrupted.
Yeah, that's true. So one of the things, from memory, Surah 10. So a lot of people quote Surah 10 because it has, is it Surah 10 94 or 97?
94, yeah.
904, that's the one. I should know that by heart by now. So they go to that because it's like, hey, you should go to these people who tell these stories if you are in doubt. If you're in doubt, you should follow this. And the traditional understanding is that it's about Muhammad, but the point is that from my memory is actually a Meccan surah, not a Medinan surah, but it has this kind of fairly developed understanding of people of the book. But you're right that normally, though, like Surah 2, Surah 3, 5, 4, all the early ones, the big ones, they tend to be more developed, right? They're more theologically, like, there's a lot more. If you read like the first 10 surahs of the Quran, you've basically covered at least 3/4 of the Quran in terms of its content. So those tend to be the later ones, and those tend to be the ones that focus more on explicitly talking about contents of the Jews as well as the Christians. So you're right, there is that kind of development generally. But yeah, it's an interesting topic, but there's a lot of different opinions about it.
All right. Thank you, Daniel, for coming on tonight. God bless you. We just got to move on because we got a bunch of other people and we only got like a half hour left. So appreciate you coming on, though. And thanks for your contribution. Let's bring the next one up. Let's bring T. Welcome to the stream. Hey, T, are you there?
Just unmute yourself. Hang on.
Hello, T. Going once.
Going twice.
No,
right.
T.
No tea. No tea tonight, guys. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry to all our British people. No tea. No tea. We got Steven is next. Hey, Steven, welcome to the live stream.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about the DiEM response. ChatGPT response, actually.
ChatGPT response, yeah.
That's a good name for him.
that was Malik saying that to him. Is like, oh boy, I see it. he's really dumb in the way he explained the solution. In the phrasing, it says like, yeah, sounds good, but I wish, let's say, explain is like, yeah, that doesn't correspond to the thing he was from ChatGPT. Yeah,
ChatGPT responds. We love it. Yeah,
we're gonna use it.
We'll use it.
I actually was. I sent the super chat because Liviano say, well, lesbiano, and I was like, haha, and it called being queer response sometimes.
Just gonna find your super chat to put it up there.
Just looking for
No, it's an old super chat in IP's channel.
Oh, IP's
they didn't read. They did not read.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so what you got for us tonight, Steven? What you got for us?
The thing I noticed is like he goes like, oh well, there's difference, yeah, but it's because he's constantly editing. But the problem is like he's like puts it like a language say, well, he generally confirming the general confirmation like, well, no, it's like you said general as a mask. He said like, oh yeah, partially. He never like says, oh, generally, like, well, he got some things right. It's like he's general. He's like being misleading. First of all,
yes. Mm.
And second, he does like, well, he's conscious editing. But the problem is, how the hell you say like, hey, he's conscious editing without knowing the real text? You need to get the discrepancy first, and then let's go to solution. Like, oh well, the discrepancy is because he's correcting them, and since he's correcting them, he's partially doing it, partially confirming it. They're like, yeah, he's really bad circular reasoning.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. I think you've struck a really good point there. So Dean is going to say, look, general confirmation. He doesn't understand what the word general means, and I've tried explaining this to him many times, but he still doesn't get it. What he really means is a specific confirmation. So what he wants to say is it confirms this specific thing and this specific thing, but not this specific thing. Because he's fully aware the majority, especially in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are not going to confirm the Islamic perspective you find in the Quran. And he knows this, and I've told him, but he still says it anyway, which is just terrible. But yeah, so when it comes to conscious edit stuff, I think the Quran is a noticeably terrible corrector, in all honesty. The Quran is really terrible. The Quran just doesn't seem to care. So people like Gabriel Reynolds have pointed out the Quran generally assumes that the listener or the reader already knows the stories that it's talking about. So it doesn't give large amounts of detail, especially when you compare that to like Jesus's ministry. There's basically almost nothing about Jesus's ministry in the Quran. It talks a little bit about his birth. It talks a little bit about his miracles in passing. Doesn't actually give you the account of them. And then that's kind of it. The rest of it is to talk about how Jesus like denies being the third of three or whatnot. So because of that, the Quran assumes the reader already knows these scriptures anyway. And if the Quran assumes they already know it and doesn't feel the need to correct them, then it seems as if the Quran is not being a corrector at all, especially in the Sunni and Shia perspective, because they believe that the prophets are sinless, despite the fact the Quran never, ever corrects these things, like for many different prophets. So, for example, you have Noah. Noah was drunk and naked in front of his sons, right? Right. The Quran talks about Noah a lot. Why does it not at any point say, by the way, guys, Noah was not drunk and he was not naked? That would never happen to a prophet. The Quran never does this. Despite the fact the Quran says very explicitly in Surah 48, Ayah 2, Muhammad had to have his past, present, and forgiven sins forgiven by Allah. Like the Quran is all over the place. Abraham lies in the Quran. That's not actually in our scriptures, but the Quran borrowed it from other traditions. And Abraham lies when he destroys the idols. But for some reason, they don't think that's problematic. Moses kills a man. Again, that comes from Exodus, but they just say, well, it wasn't murder, so it's totally fine. You know, their way of rationalizing the Quran is an absolute misery. Like it's a shame, like a sham. And people like Dean can't defend this. And this, to be honest with you, it's things like this that I think Dean refuses to talk with me, because he knows that if we ever had a prolonged discussion on this, I could just go through each of the points and show him all of this, and he wouldn't have any good responses to it, and he knows that. But yeah, that's what I have to say about conscious edits and the general confirmation.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Stephen, for the call tonight. We're just short on time, so thank you so much for coming up. We got, how do you pronounce this name? Yay?
Yeehaw.
Is that Yeehaw? Okay. I guess that's your name.
I also want to say that no classical scholar ever talks about conscious editing of the Quran
or general confirmation
to the Bible.
That's a really good point.
So this is just something, like you said, ChatGPT just came up with and they ran with it.
Well, and if you listen to Muslims, their general confirmation, after you get it whittled down to what they actually understand it to be, will define the same way as confirmation bias will.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Cool. Well, hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yep.
We can hear you.
All right, great. Glad to be on, man. I've been following
Just to
you
let
guys
everybody know
for a good while.
Yeah, just let everybody know when you guys are addressing him, Chris, his name is Yeehaw. So
Is that
that's
right?
what you're gonna call him.
No. This is.
Is that your name?
Right now, that's how we're gonna call
It
you.
goes. Yega. But thanks.
Yega.
Yega. Yeah, there you go.
Well, hey, welcome to the stream.
Yeah, glad to be on. Let me gush for a second, guys, because oh man, I've been following all of you guys for a good while. Like Chris Claus, man, you always bring like a light-hearted mood to the conversation. So like I love that, but then also, some good theology as well. So like I really appreciate that because these conversations can get really intense a lot of the times.
Thanks a lot, man. God bless. Thanks for the encouragement.
Sure. And then, like now that you guys are talking about Chat GPT response, yeah, Christian Speakers Corners, you seriously are the reason why I even stopped giving Dean Responds the light of day. Seriously, like I listened to this stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, it's pretty thoughtful. But then after that debate, forget about it. Next,
Nice. Awesome,
seriously.
man.
Yeah,
That's really good. That's really good.
Of course, and Giant DOC, of course. Man, I've been following you guys since like that whole YouTube situation. I even like installed Rumble for the first time just so I could continue listening to you guys. And I don't use Rumble at all. It was purely just to listen to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's some ride or die stuff. If you install Rumble,
yeah, that's pure love right there. He downloaded Rumble just to hear you do that.
There were some dark times back then.
There were some dark times, man. And I love listening to you guys because, like, when it comes to people talking about this stuff, it's usually, let's be honest, it's usually guys, right? Usually the men that are talking about it. But when you have like a husband and wife team, now I'm paying very close attention because now I could get like the male and the female perspective on all these things. So God bless you guys for everything.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you for the encouragement.
God bless you.
All right, so now to my question. This is a really short one, as you guys said. The Christians are quick. So I've been hearing like with this Islamic dilemma, one of their main reasons is, oh, you don't know the Arabic. This is a very high-end like version of Arabic that you need to understand. I'm wondering, since you guys are fluent native speakers, what is the level of Arabic in the Islam? Like, how high is it? Is it like a doctorate level? Is it like elementary level? Like, what is it?
If you read different parts of the Quran, you'll get the impression that's like this Arabic is like very like imagine this. Like imagine if you have like a 5th grader writing an essay or something like that, and then you have like a university student writing like their master's thesis or something like that. That's how the Quran looks in some places. Like sometimes it looks like it's like just the Arabic of the time, like classical Arabic, and then other times it looks like it's like a kid writing it.
Surah 109. I always like to bring that example.
Yeah.
You don't worship what I worship. I don't worship what you worship. These are the verses.
Yeah.
And then it repeats it. You don't worship what I worship. Now, it seems like a nursery rhyme, but because it's so revered, people are doing PhDs on this and they're elevating it. And it must mean something mystical. This is basically it. It's a book that was written down the utterings of an illiterate, and people over time have elevated it. When you read it just with just with the halo off, or if you even translate it so that the Arabic is no longer rhyming, it sounds like a schizophrenic who's in a fever dream sometimes, and you don't know what he's talking about. So this is not just me saying it because I've left Islam and I feel a certain thing. People have talked about this. Grammarians have mentioned over time that the Arabic is bad.
I'll just give you an example. So like there's certain rules for like what's considered poetry. Like, like imagine like it's like a game, and let's say there's like certain rules, but you have to be within the rules to play the game. The Quran doesn't fit with any of those rules. So they say,
Really?
instead of saying that it's
Incoherent.
instead of saying that okay, this is not good poetry, they say that this is why it's a miracle because it doesn't fit the rules. It goes beyond the rules. So so if any one of us were to write like a mistake on like our papers, and everyone would be like, okay, that's a mistake because you're not following the rules. This is a grammatical structure, or this is how it's supposed to be in poetry, or whatever. That's a mistake. But because the Quran is the Quran, it goes outside of these rules, and this is something that we do hope to talk about in the new year, because this is something that Sheldon Nasser has written about in his new book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it says I can't think of the title, but I'm sure one of the mods can post it in the chat. But his newest book is, I think it's just like Arabic of the Quran, poetry or something like that. But he talks about this, and sometimes the companions would correct Muhammad because they thought he was trying to do poetry.
Yeah.
But they correct him, but he was like, no, I'm not trying to, like, he wasn't trying to do poetry. He was just, so it looks like it's just really bad poetry because it doesn't fit in any of the rules. Like, because you have like different genres of like, let's say like, music would be a better way to describe it. Like, let's say there's like, okay, if it's rock music, it has to, there's certain rules for it to be rock. If it's like, hip hop or country or what, like there's certain rules for each one. Let's pretend there's like certain rules, but the Quran doesn't fit in any of those rules for any of the categories for poetry.
Yeah, and even people at the time like Uthman ibn Affan, Uthman, the guy who burnt the Quran, or the variants Qurans, he said, and we have him on record saying that in the tafsir, he said in the Quran there is bad grammar, which the old Arabic for that is lah. In the Quran there is lah that the Arabs will correct with their tongues, and that's Aisha would say stuff like, the Quran has mistakes because of the scribe made mistakes. These things, these mistakes, quote unquote, have been preserved till today. It's what she called, and other companions would say that when we come to this verse or that verse, and they mention the verses, these verses are still here today. They say they feel embarrassed because of the grammar mistakes in them. And a contemporary writer and thinker called Taha Hussein, he's Egyptian. He said, if I had a red pen, I'd go through the Quran and correct it.
No way.
Yeah,
Like a
Taha Hussein said
teacher
that.
is like, nope, F.
Yeah, teachers back home, they would have the red pen to like correct your essay, like go through it and just scratch this and note that. That's what he said.
So yeah, and you have like other, but I think the most powerful examples of that are like you have like companions who talk about there being mistakes like from the language, and if you're a Muslim and you take those reports seriously, like it's a big problem for them. The issue is though is that many Muslims don't know about these things, and if they do, they try to hide them. But as you know, most Muslims don't actually know Arabic, so they think of it's like a magical language, and they think that the Quran is like the best magic in this magical language, and no one can say
That's so
anything
true. They get like really like wow, like starstruck when someone starts speaking the Arabic and stuff, which is another reason why I love you guys. There was this other stream, I think this was a couple of months ago, that DOC, you were talking to this young man, and you got to the point where the kid was saying, well, whatever you show me, I'm just not gonna believe it, because I know the Quran is true. And then DOC was right on the money, right on the spot, just saying, well, then why are you asking? Like, what was the whole point of this conversation? But she did it like, I'm sounding really aggressive, but she did it in a way where it was like a motherly kind of, dude, like, we know the Arabic. Like, you see this for yourself. This is bad. This is not good.
Yeah, I do that. I don't know if I'll ever speak to that kid again. So I want to
Right.
make sure that he'll never forget this. So that's why sometimes I say things super sharp, because I don't want him to forget. Because I want him to go home and think about it when he's at home on his own.
Right.
Because I know that it's a preemptive strike, that he's doing himself against being rejected again by his family. Basically two choices. If I leave Islam, family's going to kick him out, or even worse, depending on which country he lives in. People can get really hurt. So that's why he said, well, his brain shuts down. Oh, well, I can't believe anything you say, because I get that kind of fear. But I always tell people, if that's your situation, come to the Lord. Do it secretly, even if that's your only choice. Just come to him, and then he'll make a way for you.
Amen.
If that's your only choice, besides being physically unsafe.
Indeed. Amen. Well, thank you so much, guys. And I'm really looking forward to you guys moving to the States and kind of being more free in your ministry. Just God bless you all, man. You
Thank
guys
you
have a
so
great
much.
day, all right?
God bless
God
you.
bless you.
too, man.
God
All
bless,
right.
man.
So I guess, guys, we can extend. Are you guys good to extend for a little bit? We normally would end in about 10 minutes from now, but I just got
I'm
a
happy to
message.
keep going.
Okay, we might get
I'll ride till you're ready to close down, Jay. I'm good.
All right, cool. Okay, cool. So how do you pronounce the name again?
Yiga.
Yeah.
Yiga. Sorry.
I just gotta remove you from the studio. Just listen to us through YouTube. We just gotta clear up some space. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, and as soon as he got left and someone else came. Okay. All right, so we gotta clear up a little bit of space, guys. So let's just try to go through some calls really quickly. Let's see. Where's the female guest one?
And you people down in the chat, I already told you, Jay and DOC have a list that will bring you up. You don't have to tell us in the chat that you want to come up. We know you do. You requested. If you don't get up today, Jay and DOC will be live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come early.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, don't worry. You will get your turn.
All right, we got Spicy Baptist-Costal. Welcome to the live stream.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Hope y'all are doing all well tonight. I actually have, my question is less about the dilemma and maybe more for someone like DOC. So, let's say we get the apologetic Muslim converts, and are there things that you find, especially DOC, when you're growing in the faith, that are challenges that are kind of Muslim specific? Like, so for example, when I'm discipling friends or who have converted, if they didn't come from a Christian background, I notice there are things that are second nature for me that I overlook, that they don't understand, and I have to really, really think about it. So are there things when, a young Christian that's come from a Muslim background, what are some of the challenges when discipling them that, someone who is in the faith but maybe hasn't dealt with Islam so much, what they should think of when they're discipling a convert?
That's a great question.
That's
So,
a really good question.
a lot of times, especially if you're like, let's say, born into a Christian environment or even Christian family, people have like blind spots, right? Like we don't know, like, okay, like if someone is like new to the faith from a Muslim background, what are some struggles or some things that other people should look out for? Like, how can we help our brothers and sisters who just come
from Islam?
So yeah, what do you think?
Assume they know nothing. So a lot of Christians assume they know, like Muslims, they believe in a God, they know who God is, or they know the names of the prophets, some of them. That means they know their story. No, they would have heard the Islamic version, which is upside down, inside out, not true, or partially true, and the rest is false. So I would approach them like they're completely blank slate. So don't assume they know who God is or what God is or how he operates. For example, when I first came to God, I didn't know how to pray to him. And Christians would say, just tell him what's on your heart. But then I wouldn't know, like
you would default back to like
I would default back. I thought I had to, because I came from Islam, it's a God who can leave you at any time. So I kept praying to him, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. Christian then had to tell me, you do know God will not leave you. Right? So it's the example of that. Or when you say God is a father, what does that mean? So I would say, you know how you love your father, but you're respectful to him. So when you come to God, come with reverence, but not fear. So they think, well, the God of Islam is one that a father with a belt, you know.
Ooh.
If you don't
I'm
do
Asian,
something,
so I know.
exactly. So if you don't, we come with terror, you know. That's why Muslims' prayers are scripted. You don't deviate even one word from the script. So if when in prayer, it's very hard for them to then. It's almost like a caged animal who's suddenly free. They're still like shaking a little bit. So you have to tell them, speak to God like he's a good father who doesn't have a belt, but you still have to, don't speak to him like, you know, your son or your daughter or a friend. You have to have reverence towards him. And stuff like that.
So then, so, you know, for example, so in some like kind of, I'm a Protestant. Obviously of a Baptist-costal, right?
Yeah.
Theology of a Baptist, dance moves of a Pentecostal. But
All right, nice.
but if you know, for example, like some like old liturgical prayer books, is that something that would maybe like would be a stumbling block, or would that be like a helpful stepping stone to like, here are some prayers that Christians have prayed? Maybe you want to look at them and try to pray with them, and then, you know, as you get more comfortable, start praying on your own. Would that be like kind of a good stepping stone?
Like prescripted?
I would no, because you want to wean them away from scripts.
Mm.
If they want one, I would go to the Lord's Prayer. Say, okay, if your mind goes blank, you don't know what to say to him, go to our Father who art in heaven, you know, and or give them some kind of formula because they have nothing. They came from, you know, rigid structure and have nothing. So I was given a formula of start with adoration. Will I love you, Lord? Thank you, Lord. Thanks. And then confession. I confess this sin to you today. And then and then at the end, your requests. You know, so that at least they have a structure. And then end with in Jesus' name, amen, because we ask for things in Jesus' name like he asked us to. So at least they have a structure, but they can fill it in over time. And what you can do is practice with them. So it also to correct any theology that they might get wrong. Like they're very easily confused Son with Father and Holy Spirit because they're just not used to a triune nature. So I've heard of them, some saying, thank you, Father, for dying on the cross for us. They confuse them. So you need to, you know, watch them and say, no, the Father didn't die. You say, thank you, Father, for sending Jesus to die on the cross for us. So I would, you know, ask them to pray in front of you and then correct these things. And then as they become more confident, they can pray secretly with themselves. And things like they don't understand that you can fast anytime. And I mean, they do that, but they're fasting. You have to explain that it's not a big feast and stuff like that. It's not about the food. You just correct everything. Just treat them as don't assume they know what fasting is just because they have the name of it. And expect them to treat it a bit like Islam in terms of, oh, how do you worship, the structure of things, the theology of things, because they can confuse things and they can confuse the stories in the Bible with the Quran.
I see. And sorry, just kind of last follow-up question. So, you know, sometimes when the Bible's overwhelming, you kind of use like a supplementary source to kind of help break down, you know, like major themes of the Bible. Something like the Purple Book for folks who don't have a Christian background at all, or like, you know, maybe like if you're kind of in a more traditional church, like a catechism. Is there anything you would think would be more helpful for someone coming out of Islam?
What's that thing that they have? There's something really popular in the UK. What's it called, like Alpha Course or something?
They have the Alpha Course.
Yeah.
All these courses that are gentle introductions to Christianity. I'm going to say something very controversial. Stay away from translations that put you off the English. Don't give them a King James on their way, because they're not going to understand anything. Okay, unless you read it with them. I actually used Bible Project, okay, which is like these cartoons that tell you what Genesis is about, you know, in a few minutes. What Exodus is about. Yeah, Bible Projects, and they have like a few minutes for each of the Bible of the books in the Bible, and it tells you how it leads to Messiah. Because if you just let them read Leviticus, they're gonna drown. Okay. and they're going to lose their enthusiasm for the Bible. So for these big books that are heavy to read, I would just say, well, what is it about in 2 sentences for each book? And they, depending on how enthusiastic they are, they can just, just drown in the length of the Old Testament. So they might need your help there. So I would go for the big prophets first. Like, I would go for like
say Jeremiah,
Isaiah, Ezekiel. Know what their stories are about, in short, and what it meant, and the history of Israel and stuff is probably going to be hard. So, just I would say get them to understand the New Testament first, what the Jesus life first, before you jump into these big things.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And I really appreciate all that you do. I watch your stuff, guys, a lot, and I'm taking notes. That way I'm prepared to go out and defend the faith as well. So I really appreciate everything that all of you do. So thank you again for having me up.
Great.
You're welcome.
Thanks for
God
coming
bless
on.
you.
God bless.
All right. Let's bring the screen up. Okay, so this is something that's, I don't know, maybe not a lot of people know, but like it's something in Islam. You might think like in, how in Christianity we have like a lot of times if you live in proximity to like the church that you go to, like your home church, let's say, you just keep going to that church and you build a community there, you build a community there. But when Muslims have like an area where there's a lot of mosques, they don't have that same thing. There's not like the equivalent of a, how do I do this? I'm trying to fix the screens here. Hold on a second. There's not like an equivalent of like a home mosque. Like Muslims will go around from mosque to mosque, right?
Yeah, they don't have an equivalent.
Let's do this.
And yeah, the mosque doesn't really. You're not in the fellowship of the mosque that they say, oh, where did you go this week?
How do I add this? Sorry, my layouts are all messed up. 1 second. I'm trying to add.
David is here.
Oh, you ruined the surprise.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
He's not here.
He's
yet.
not here.
He's not here yet.
No, he's here.
Yay!
It's just someone who looks like David.
Hey, Salam Al-Masih, Dizzle.
Yeah, for some reason I just it seemed like it was loading up slowly, and my internet's going really slow. So I don't know.
I think there's a delay.
I just got back a couple minutes ago, and
are you guys seeing this delay, or is it just me?
Is there
a little bit of audio lag? Yeah. Yeah, so there's a little bit of audio delay. We can hear you can hear you, but yeah, there's just a little bit of delay. Yeah.
So, what's up?
Takes a couple seconds.
What's up?
Okay. So yeah, guys, David is here, as you can see, and let's see.
I'm gonna jump out and jump back in and see if things caught up.
Yeah, that might be good. So I kind of killed David's flow there.
It's all good.
All right, he'll come back.
Yeah. So yeah, the thing I was trying to get at was like the home mosque, home church kind of thing. So, that's kind of like having this going to this. I mean, it's different if the Muslim is in a Western country where there's not a lot of mosques. There are some Western countries that have a lot of mosques, but let's say like in America, for example, and there's not like a ton of mosques for them to choose from. Well, yeah, they're only going to go to that one mosque. But if there's a lot, if they're coming from a country where there's a lot of different mosques to choose from, the reason why I'm saying this is because normally, like in Christianity, you'll build a community with a specific congregation, and you'll kind of have fellowship and congregate with specific people weekly, or if not more than that, because sometimes you have prayer meetings and other like feasting feasts and things like that you'll go and celebrate with as a community. But that's not the case with a lot of like if you have the options, a lot of mosques in your area as a Muslim, it's not that you're going to the same mosque and seeing the same people every week. So having that community as a Christian now, it's an important thing to keep, and kind of like brothers and sisters having like that communal relationship with each other. So that's an important factor as well.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, and if you see them doing things wrong without knowing, tell them. Like from being a Muslim, you say Allah in everything. Alhamdulillah, oh my, I didn't know that to say oh my, is taking the Lord's name in vain until someone told me. I didn't know what that meant. So explain everything, you know?
She's saying like OMG or something.
OMG, yeah,
like
I thought that I didn't think there was a problem. I thought, oh, the more you say God's name, the better. That's what the Islam side of things.
Yeah.
They put Allah in everything. They say wallahi, wallahi, wallahi all the time. I didn't know that that's wrong, and until someone told me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got a couple more calls, but I'll wait for David to
Right,
come
David.
back. But yeah, what do you guys have to say so far for the night? Oh, we can go for some super chats actually. If
Yeah,
I was going to say perfect time for super chats, Jay.
Yeah. Oh wait, we did this one, right? Okay.
Joseph, the dilemma is much more than the divinity of Jesus. Even if there's one different theological teaching, the dilemma remains valid.
Yeah, it's a multiplicity of things.
Yeah, exactly that. I think sometimes we kind of, because as Christians, we love Jesus and we love the fact that he is God incarnate, and we want to emphasize this at every opportunity we get. I think that's valid and true for the Islamic dilemma, but don't think that that's the only thing. There's a lot of other things. You can just go with the stories of the prophets in the Old Testament and just look at all the different contradictions there between the Genesis account and Exodus, for example, and the Quran, for example, and you'll notice that there's a huge dilemma there. So yeah, like completely agree with this.
So what are some let's say not so popular ones to go to? Like I was thinking earlier, we were talking to that guy, when we were muted, I was saying, adoption. It's a major theme in Christianity. Obviously, we're the adopted children of God, but in Islam, it's not a thing. It's a abomination to Allah. And so that's a major difference between Christianity and Islam is the concept of adoption. It's foundational to our faith, and it's something that doesn't exist at all, and it's actually prohibited in their faith. So what would you guys think are like some of the things that not everybody thinks about when they're thinking the Islamic dilemma? Like, this comment is saying like, Jesus being God having a son, and God being the Father. Those are the ones that we normally go to. Crucifixion, resurrection. But what are some of the things that are not so, let's say, obvious or not the first things on your mind?
So I'll jump one in. So for me, the way I would phrase it, just to be really ironclad when I present this to Muslims, is I would say that Jesus is elevated to a position that the Quran explicitly denies. And because they have like Dawah scripts for, you say Jesus is God, that's like a trigger for them. And they go, oh, Dawah script, number 703. Let's get that out. Here we go. And they want to go through this Dawah script with you because they're familiar with that and they want to talk about that. But if you just say, actually, Jesus, as we find him in the Gospels, is venerated to a point that the Quran denies, then that's a lot more nuanced and that's a lot more difficult for them to deal with, not just from a Sunni and Shia background, but also from a Quran-only perspective. And one of the arguments I give is that in the Gospels, Jesus performs miracles without invoking directly the name of his Father, but he does so through his own authority. But the Quran actually mentions those miracles in at least referring to them 4171 and 348. You'll find this, like for example, Jesus healing the leper, raising the dead. The Quran actually makes very light reference to this. But when it does so, and in other places, it will say with Allah's permission.
Yeah.
So the Quran actually, knowing where Christians are going to take this, it tries to directly refute this by saying only with Allah's permission did he do this. But the issue is that in the Gospels, Jesus doesn't say, by the way, Father, do you give me permission to heal this paralyzed man, to heal this blind man? You don't see Jesus do that. He actually just does it on his own authority. And the Pharisees see this and they think, hang on a second, he's not invoking the name of Yahweh. He's just healing directly. And that seems to be, and of course that leads them to think, well, either he's doing it on his own authority, which in their view is blasphemous, or he's doing it in the authority of a different God, which of course would also be blasphemous. So I would say this is a good example of where the Gospels explicitly contradict the Quran in terms of who Jesus is and who, how venerated he is, I guess you could say.
So focusing still on Jesus, but not specifically on the divinity, but just like in terms of the nature of him doing miracles and what is actually being said. Is he invoking? Who is he invoking? His own authority or? Okay, so yeah, that's one. You also gave one the other week, which was in heaven, like, you know, no marriage in heaven, like we'll be like the angels. That was a good one. But yeah, Chris or David is back. What do you guys think? What are some like not so obvious, you know, ones that we think about that we could use with the Islamic dilemma? But
I'm thinking maybe possibly I was going to start running the Abraham's son that he was going to offer as a sacrifice. So we see in the Quran, of course, we see in the same narrative that Abraham is going to offer his son as a sacrifice. But given the verse order and whatnot, we can determine that the Quran is saying that Ishmael is the son that Abraham is going to be sacrificing, of course. When we go to the previous scriptures, we know it's Isaac and we know why it's Isaac. But with their conscious edits argument, I would wonder why they're changing the son in the Quran. What is the actual reason why they're changing the son? Right? It can't be for the reason of the sacrifice, because the sacrifice is still taking place. It's just switching the order of the son, right? Instead of it being Isaac being the son that's being sacrificed, it's Ishmael, of course, right? So there has to be an actual reason why the son's being switched in this paradigm. And I truly believe that they're trying to point towards Muhammad. So this would be, again, another area that you could run to when doing the Islamic dilemma, is showing them that it doesn't really make much sense to change the son, because we have the prophethood going down through Isaac, Jacob, and his descendants in the Quran and in the Bible. So it only makes sense that they're only doing this to point towards Muhammad, to be a descendant of Abraham.
That's a good point.
All right, the Dizzle, what you think?
I would say man being created in the image of God. You don't have anything like that in the Quran. I haven't looked into this in a while, but if I recall, I could only find 2 hadiths that talk about that. And one just says, don't hit someone in the face because he's the image of God. And the other actually says what it means to be in the image of God. And it sounds like it just means that Adam was created in the same shape as Allah, which doesn't even make sense because Allah's got 2 right arms and stuff like that. But it sounds like Adam was just created in the same shape as Allah, or the same height as Allah, or something like that. It has nothing. It has no connection. It's like Muhammad. This happens over and over again in the Muslim sources. It's like Muhammad hears Christians or Jews saying something, but has absolutely no clue what it means, and then he runs with it and gets it all wrong. But yeah, I'd say man being created in the image of God. Even if you have 2 hadiths that mention it, they have no clue at all what it means.
It's a good one. You know, that there's a funny story with that. I think it was some Muslim scholars in Lebanon, and they were trying to debate the grammar of that, and they were actually trying to make the argument that when it said like Adam was created in his image, they were trying to say Adam was created like in his image, not in Allah's image. And it was like this really weird argument, but they were trying to make some grammar, like what you said. That is the standard view. But they were trying to argue that no, actually Allah doesn't have an image. Adam was created in his own image, and they were trying to do some gymnastics in the Arabic with that. But it does seem like it's very clear that Muhammad thought that Allah had a physical image and that Adam was actually created in that image. And there's a hilarious story of like Satan going through Adam and realizing it's not Allah because Adam is hollow, and and so he's like, your Lord is not hollow, and so that was how he was able to determine and tell the angels, like, calm their nerves, like, don't worry guys, it's not Allah, because that guy is hollow on the inside. Allah's not hollow. So yeah, that's all right. We got member for over 3 months. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
David, where is Tawheed in your Quran? Muslims don't listen to your arguments like Abd ibn Mas'ud didn't listen to Muhammad's cries a stone's throw away.
Yeah. Yep. Where's
That
our
was
hidden?
that was the night of El Zut, wasn't it, David?
Oh yeah.
Well, he did tell him. He did tell him not
Famous
to cross the line. He was just being obedient. So he did hear his cries, just couldn't do anything about it.
Yep. Two famous nights. We have the night that Christ was born, and
the night of Al-Zut.
Man, it was so crazy when I watched that video that David, I think, did as well as I did on the Muslim cowboy and Hamza going over a refutation per se to the story of the Al-Zut. And the Muslim cowboy that was actually reading the Arabic actually had to admit to Hamza that that's actually what the word actually means, to ride.
oh yeah, that was a funny one. All right.
But then they had to claim that it doesn't mean sex. Oh yeah, I don't know. We're going to do this with a delay. For some reason, my internet's what?
Oh, that's what's going on. Okay,
it sounds like it. Because I'll start
Yeah.
talking
Can you
right
tell? You can even hear us in his stream. You can hear like voices.
Chris, can you hear the voices now, Chris? Are they talking to you?
I always hear the voices, man. Yeah, they never leave.
We got another super chat. That migration to Abyssinia story is so made up.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. So I won't say who said this, but I was having a chat with someone in academia who basically pointed out that if you take the story seriously, you have to think that Muhammad decided as like a master plan, like this is Dunkirk level planning. He's gonna evacuate not himself, but his most trusted companions, about 110 of them, I think, is the traditional account or thereabouts. Is going to evacuate them to across the Red Sea to Aksum, which is now modern day Ethiopia, and have them stay there for many years while he's being persecuted. So Muhammad is in Mecca, is being persecuted by sometimes like even his own family members, his his community around him. They hate him, they're trying to kill him. So he has this great plan of sending all of his friends away. Not himself, but everyone else. So basically, you'd have to believe that he genuinely thought that was a good idea. And I don't understand how anyone can make sense of that. Why would you send all your closest companions away and just keep... Because, again, this is Mecca, right? There's only so many Muslim converts. There's not many of them. And he sends a big chunk of them away and just leaves himself there and a few others. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, Muslims would say to give them a reprieve from the persecution.
But why would you leave yourself so vulnerable? Why would you like... If you're literally... You could be killed, right? People want you dead. Why would you send all of your... just bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Good question. I don't know.
So, yep.
Why would you eat the meat prepared by your enemy that you just slaughtered their family?
Maybe he had a thing for lamb and he was like, man, that looks so good. I just want to have one taste. Surely it's not poisoned, right?
Yeah, it didn't tell him it was poison until later on.
Yeah, like I'm surprised that Muhammad didn't whip the meat like Moses done whipped that stone that stole his clothes that still had the wounds at the time of Muhammad, because that meat should have told Muhammad that it was poison before he even ate it.
Yeah. All right, we got Super Sticker here. Thank you for that. All right, we'll try to take this next call. What are we gonna do this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ada Bean, welcome to the stream.
Hi everyone, how you going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic! It's so nice to hear your voice. Oh, well, no, I've heard your voice, but it's not so nice to be talking to you, Joe, and DSE, and yes, even you, the Dizzle. Yeah, just obviously calling from Australia, and yeah, just wanted to have a chat with you guys.
All right. Well, welcome from Australia.
How is Australia?
Oh, did he just disconnect? Yeah, he just disconnected.
Oh no.
Okay. All right, that was an awkward. Oh, there you go. He's back. He's back. Welcome back.
Sorry about that. Something going wrong.
That's all right. Yeah. So, how's everything going in
out.
Australia?
Look, not very well. We've got a government that watches, a Muslim terrorist come and shoot 13 people on a beach that happen to be Jews, but there's nothing to do with that. Don't worry about it. Just skip over that. And doesn't mention that they're Jews, doesn't mention that they're Islamic terrorists, and just sits there and says, oh, we need to stamp down our gun violence when we're, or our guns when we're the country that's the poster boy for gun control. But apparently, yeah, we can't. We maybe need to have like gun control that's, are you a Muslim? Yes, no answer. And then that'll be our assessment criteria for whether you should have a gun or not. But yeah, that's about where we're at in this country.
Yeah, and not only that, but the media is portraying, oh, there's a gunman who was stopped by a Muslim.
Wow.
And that's just how they're portraying it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I was like, someone said this on Twitter, but it made me think if this is actually true. Apparently, the gunman he wrestled the gun off the guy, and he was even shot in the process of doing this. But did he let the guy then run off? Basically.
Yeah. So I had a look at this last night because I wanted to have another go, but essentially, this Muslim is a Muslim by name. He owns a smoke shop. He's got no beard. He's not, they'd call him a kuffar for being, he's doing haram things, obviously. But what he's done, because in Australia, you don't have semi-automatic weapons. And so if you're watching it, you see that the person who shot the rifle has shot the rifle and gone to like reload, where you have to use a bolt action or something like that to reload the weapon. And then the Muslim guy's gone, grabbed it off him, and then gone to point it at him. But you can see almost that he's trying to shoot it, but he just doesn't. He has no clue what he's doing. So that's what I believe has happened when I'm looking at it. And it's just, yeah, he just didn't know that you had to do a bolt action or something like that in order to shoot him. And then there was a guy further up on a bridge who then shot him and other people, because there was other Australians, running with bricks trying to throw it at them and stuff like that. They were just trying their absolute best. But yeah, that's essentially what I believe has happened, just looking at it.
That's interesting, because what this was heading up to was this guy on X was saying the guy didn't shoot him once he had wrestled the gun off him. And then that guy who was killing people then ran off and got another gun and just continued.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's 100% true. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Because yeah, we don't really have guns. Like, we have guns, but for hunting and that sort of stuff. But it's not like America when, if this had happened in America, there would have been like 500 bullets going back at them. But it's not like that here. Like, this shooting on the beach is just so foreign to anything in Australia. But our government, again, just sits there and just says, no, it's fine. Like, it's not, we need to stamp out hate speech and we need to strengthen our gun laws, because that's the actual problem. And yeah, they're facing a lot of backlash because they won't admit to what's happened.
Wow, man, that sounds terrible. Although it does sound slightly, I think the UK is in a very similar boat as well. I mean, obviously we didn't have that kind of that terrorist attack that you guys had, but we also have a government that is very not representative of the people at the moment. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, gutless and spineless. Yeah,
yeah.
We got the Australian words for it.
Yeah, I just want to. David's on a little bit of a lag right now, so I'm going to give him an opportunity if he wants to say anything. Just give him some grace. He's going to take a couple of seconds, then whatever he says, we'll be able to hear it afterwards. So give him a couple of seconds, guys.
No, I'm trying to troubleshoot this right now. The only thing as far as the Bondi massacre that that is really stupid to me is just, we heard after almost 50,000 terrorist attacks over the past the past 24 years that you can't just point to a Muslim and say that has something to do with Islam. And it's, well, we're not. We show in the Muslim sources what these things have to do with Islam. I've asked Muslims repeatedly since that attack to show me what protecting Jews from a Muslim attack has to do with Islam. No one's been able to show me anything except for completely misrepresented passages like the one I've seen like 90% of the time is, well, the Quran says if anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind, which is like, quote it in context, quote the next verse, and can't possibly have anything to do with anyone's reasoning. We have no reason to think that the hero who ran up to someone, that he was motivated by some Quran passage or something like that, whereas we very frequently have reasons to think that the terrorists are motivated by their understanding of Islam. So anyway, those are my thoughts on there. It's like, okay, if we heard after nearly 50,000 terrorist attacks, don't associate this with Islam, even though you can show passage after passage after passage that motivates these kinds of attacks, and you guys can't show one passage in the Quran or the Hadith that would tell you to go rescue Jews from a Muslim attack. But that's what we're supposed to associate with Islam, the hero saving Jews from Muslim attackers. Anyway, that's the weird part. That's the weird part for me. But anyway, no, I was looking here, and for some reason, my desktop, even though it's connected by landline, isn't picking up the landline. It's picking up Wi-Fi. So I don't know how to fix that right now, but I think that might be the reason for the lag. It says I'm not connected, even though there's a cable connected to it. But
so, David, there's some Wi-Fi jihad going on there. Yeah, and I know that David, he just did a stream on this on Syria International, so there's like a whole hour live stream on it. If you guys want to check that out in more detail. But yeah, Adabin, we just had to mute you real quick because I think you have some birds in the background or some sort of animals or something like that. But you can unmute yourself and feel free to continue on the discussion.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've also got kids running in the background. I've just come inside because, it's summer in Australia, so everything's nice and beautiful and alive and not frozen. So
okay.
I just wanted to quickly say, so a couple of things that I mentioned, just I gave you a couple of super chats, and I've sent you, Jai, a present for Mr. Dizzle. Just been trying to work on that, but if you could just have a look and just let me know, that'd be really good because I can keep working on it, and it could be useful. And then just the second one, I just wanted to quickly ask if anyone or everyone could please share Dr. Joanna Howe. We've got she put out a video basically lambasting the whole Australian government, and she also shared what's the Sneeko sheikh who told him he was a kafir, Sheikh Asa. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
So she shared his video about where he's saying the Muslims will do their violent jihad. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's going to be in the next 50 years when they're strong that they'll come and try and do that. She's got a small channel. She's usually about anti-abortion stuff because we've got some of the worst abortion stuff in the world. Like, we do full-term abortions and let babies die. It's ridiculous. But she's spoken out about it, and she's done an hour podcast, but it's got about 14,000 views at the moment. And if we could just boost that up, it could really change our government, because our government is feeling the pressure at the moment because everybody's not buying what they're selling.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, well, like we said, we'll check that out. Dr. Joanna Howe. And yeah, with regards to the email, I did get it. But yeah, as you know, we're extremely busy at this period in our life right now, and a lot of people have been actually reaching out and offering different sorts of ways that they can help and services that they can offer. Very appreciative of that. And other people have also reached out and asked us to do things that would take a lot of time right now that we don't really have, but we do appreciate all the emails and all the love, all the support, and we'll try to get to everything when we can. So thank you for that. So let's go to, Chris Claus, did you want to say anything? Because I don't think we heard from you from that Australian call. So did you want to comment on that before the next caller?
No, the only thing that I really have seen is I think that I agree with the man that was up here from Australia. He said that he looked into the video, and that's what he's seen. So I'll take his view for it. I haven't seen much from it, just what people have been putting around online.
All right. We got Rafiq. Welcome to the live stream.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
So my online name is Super Wario, so I'm here. Hello.
Oh, okay. Welcome.
Oh, that's you. Okay, welcome. Hi.
Hello. So my question is, I had a polemics question. So I was talking with a guy on X, and we were talking about lying in Islam, and about how, there's like certain exceptions and stuff like that. And then I kind of moved the topic towards Allah. Like, if basically he said that if you lie and it has a good outcome, then it's not a sin. And so I tried showing him that Allah lied to Christians, and because of that, they've been committing shirk for 2,000 years. And so I've heard you guys make this argument before, for sure. God Logic. I don't know if you guys, Giant Doc, have done it, but he asked a question. I'm kind of stuck, and I was wondering if you guys could help me think through it real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So his question was basically, how is it Allah's fault that Christians thought Jesus was God?
Perfect.
I'm not sure how to answer that.
Yeah, what I would do is I would reference Surah 61. I believe it's ayat 4 or ayat 6, where it says that there is a group of the children of Israel who believed over a group who disbelieved, and Allah strengthened the group who believed over the disbelievers. Now, this was the followers of Jesus that stood up and said that they were Muslim and that they would help Jesus as well. So in the understanding of that is that they would help Jesus in the message that he was given. Right? So if in fact Allah is not lying, then the message that prevails even to today is the Trinitarian doctrine that Jesus died on the cross, that he rose on the third day. That's been since the time of Jesus till today, and it's going to go to the day of resurrection. We already know that, but Muslims can't say that yet, but we already know that. So given that, when Allah made it appear that Jesus was crucified, that is the view that has been since that time. So that if Allah was the one that caused that lie, he's the one that has caused this much shirk, as you would say, ever since the time of Jesus up to today, even.
Okay. I was thinking about that first, but I didn't realize that it said God will strengthen the true believers. I thought it was just, I don't remember. Anyway, I had reasons for not going to that verse, but I'll look at it again, and I'll take that into consideration for sure.
Yeah, I used Surah 63, or sorry, Surah 3, ayat 55 with Surah 61. Because if you use just Surah 355, they're going to try to say that that's the Muslims. But when you incorporate it with Surah 61, they can't get away from it being a group of the children of Israel, because it literally states that in the verse.
Okay.
Is it like 61:14, I think?
Oh, maybe it is 14. My bad.
Can you put it on the screen? Just
Yeah, let's pull it up real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right, let's put it up real quick. There we go.
So,
Is this the one?
yeah, all you who believed, yes, it
Yep.
is. Be supporters of Allah. When Jesus, the son of Mary, said to the disciples, "Who are my supporters of Allah?" For Allah, they said, "We are the supporters of Allah." So they are true believers. And a faction of the children of Israel believed, that's them, and a faction disbelieved. And we supported those who believed against their enemy, and they became dominant.
Yeah,
And we know from history the ones who became dominant were Trinitarian Christians.
exactly.
And Surah 355 that Brother Chris Claus said is that they became fawqa, they became above. Allah's promise is that they will be above those who disbelieved until day of judgment. So that includes today.
Yep. And so that's a really powerful argument for the true believers being the ones who believe in the divinity of Jesus, and then Allah, it would be his fault directly because he's strengthening them.
He made
right?
he made them dominant.
But I think that the larger argument with Allah lying and deceiving is that he's leading people to believe in the crucifixion and resurrection. Like you said, this would lead them away from Islam. So whether or not other beliefs, let's say that they have about the Trinity and all these the divinity of Jesus and the Trinity as a whole, that ties into it, and this argument ties directly into that. But just Allah misleading them or lying to them, deceiving them, making them believe in the crucifixion of Jesus and in the resurrection, that's a problem for Islam. So I think that the argument you had is a strong argument, but his response didn't actually touch on what you were saying. It was another point, which is, okay, why is he responsible for them believing in Jesus being God or being divine? But the point that I think you were trying to make was that he's just misleading them, as in that one case, the crucifixion, and because of that, you have billions of people going to hell according to Islam because Allah made them believe something that's not true.
Yeah, because why would they believe in Islam if Islam said he wasn't crucified when they would have had eyewitnesses with their own eyes because of Allah's fault saying that he is crucified? So Allah basically led them away from Islam centuries later by giving them that, shubbih, by giving them that tashbih, by giving them that, making something appear that it isn't. Now they've inherited a tradition from eyewitnesses, and now they can't believe in Islam. So it is his fault.
Yeah.
Right?
So to restate it, it's basically it's Allah's fault for giving Christians a stumbling block from accepting Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
He gave them a reality that wasn't true.
And you can also tie that in with verses in the Quran saying, like, Allah guides whom he wills and he misguides whom he wills. So the responsibility, this is the point where I honestly believe Islam is contradictory on. But I think that the dominant view in the Quran is that Allah is the one who decides the fate of people and that their decisions don't actually matter. Like, he's the one who chooses the believers and disbelievers independent of what they do or what they choose. I think that's the dominant view in the Quran, but I do think that there's contradiction there. But if you just want to tie it to that verse that says, like, Allah guides whom he wills and misguides whom he wills, then the responsibility is fully on him for people misbelieving. And he's not only misguiding them like away from the truth, but he's actually actively making them believe something that's not true.
Imagine being a disciple of Jesus. You're completely sincere. You're with him all the time that he's in his ministry. Allah makes you believe he's on the cross, and you die believing that, and you tell everyone, you tell your descendants everything, all that, and these people faithfully believed what they were told all that time, and it was all a lie. Whose fault is it?
Yeah, it's Allah's fault.
And then the messenger comes, Muhammad, who's really true. How do I know that Allah is not making it up again?
Yeah.
Do you have I can probably find it, but do you have a reference for where Allah guides who he chooses?
Yes, in many verses in the Quran.
I used to have like a file on it because there's so many verses on it, but we'll just give like a one real quick.
I could probably find the rest on my own.
Yes, I'm just finding it. يهدي من يشاء ويضل من يشاء.
Yeah, he guides whom he wills and misguides whom he wills.
I've got it here. You got Surah 14, verse 4. That's just one of them.
Yeah, 14 verse 4, just one.
28:56.
40, 50, yeah, like there's a list of them that you can go to.
You said 28 what?
So the first one was 14 verse 4, and then
Yeah.
Chris, what was the other one, Chris?
28:56.
56. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, there's a lot more that I want to ask, but there's people waiting, and you guys have limited time, so I'll just give it to them. Last thing I'll say before I head out, though, is I'm excited for you guys to come to America, and if you're ever in the West Coast, I'll take you guys out to some all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue. So let me know if you're here.
Korean, okay.
Korean, huh?
Thank you so much.
It's really good.
All right.
I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Thank you.
God
God
bless.
bless. All right, guys. I think David is fixing his computer issues. I know I think he's got a stream with AP later, so you guys will probably see him there. We got, I don't know which one, male or female, to put up for this one, but their name is DOC's fan. So,
Why, thank you.
welcome to the stream, DOC's
Hi.
fan.
Can you hear me, guys? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of DOC.
Well, thank you.
He's awesome. So, firstly, I want to ask you, how do you say I take refuge in Jesus from the men of our Zut in Arabic?
He's asking.
No,
Saying what?
I said, how do you say I take refuge in Jesus from the men of our Zut in Arabic? How do you say that in Arabic?
I would say A'udhu bi Yasua. That means I take refuge by Yeshua, his real name. Min Rijal al-Zut, from the men of al-Zut. So it will be A'udhu bi Yasua min Rijal al-Zut.
I've been practicing, so yeah. So firstly, you were talking about some verses you can mix with the Islamic dilemma, and I think Surah chapter 3 verse 50 would be a good one. So maybe you pull it up on the screen, or I should read it right here. So I think it's been a verse I've been reading for about 4 years now, and I think it is a big problem for Islam, but people don't really talk about it. So I think I have it right. Surah chapter 3 verse 50. 350, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Let me just gonna.
Jesus confirming the Torah, but he's also changing some of the laws in the Torah.
That's
right. Yeah. So it's because if you ask a Muslim which laws did he change, how are they going to respond? Although the Tafsirs talk about dietary laws, but they are getting that from the Bible also. So it's a problem for them. They can't really get that answer out of the Quran. So that's that. But yeah. I took down some notes because I really wanted to talk with David, but it's no more here. So it's no problem. But in case he comes back
tomorrow. Tomorrow he's going to be with us tomorrow. So if we don't get many Muslims tomorrow, and you can try to come earlier, you might get a chance to talk with David tomorrow. A little earlier than the time right now, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So I also have a question. Since I heard David say that next year we want to talk about Muhammad in the Bible. If I heard him correctly. I just want to suggest that shouldn't be the main topic next year, because that will be putting Christians on defense. So the best that will come of it is, oh, fine, we were wrong, just like the scientific miracles. And so I believe next year's topic should be also on the offense, like the plagiarism of the Quran. So we should go full out on it. We don't attack it enough in Christianity. So we Christians don't do it. We don't attack it enough. So I think we should talk about the plagiarism of the Quran. But talking about Muhammad in the Bible is putting us on defense. And as we say, attack is the best defense. So as my suggestion. So you said something a few minutes ago, and it's something I also wanted to suggest, but I really love that you said you start doing it from next year. Sorry, I have a serious cough. So we talked about deep topics in Islam, like the mistakes in the Arabic, and all those things. So I wanted to suggest you doing it. And also, can you please do a collab with Rob Christian? The guy is really good, but I don't know why he has not been with you guys recently. Hope I just want you to like do a collab with him. So
Wait, with
I
who?
think the
Sorry.
guy is good and
Rob Christian.
with Rob Christian.
Right,
So
right.
he's also an Arabic speaking Christian. So I want him and Jai and DOC. I mean Jai and DOC to do a collab together. So just dismantling Islam in Arabic. So that's just my suggestions.
Okay, thank you.
Good suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the call. Appreciate that. Yeah, we keep in touch with Rob, and we
Yeah, we love his work.
appreciate what he does. So we got one more call. FL, you came in at the right time. We're just about to end, so we'll take the last call with you. Welcome, FL, to the stream.
Hi, thank you. This is my first time.
Welcome.
Okay. Well, this is about the dilemma, right? So I have a question about did Allah in Quran actually blame the Jews for rejecting Injil brought by Jesus? So, and the content of the Injil, as far as I know, according to Islamic narrative, is the teaching about Tawhid, right? So the conclusion is Allah blaming Jews for rejecting the Tawhid. Is that correct or not?
Sorry, Allah rejecting the, what was the word used there?
Jews?
Sorry. So, okay. How do I say it? Sorry, I'm not an English native speaker, by the way. I'm from Indonesia.
That's fine.
So, okay.
I think so. He's blaming the Jews for not accepting Tawheed,
Tawheed,
right?
yeah. So the
Oh,
question
Tawheed.
is Allah blaming Jews for not accepting Tawheed? Is that right, FL?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, the essence is that because rejecting the Injil, right, that Jesus brought, and the Injil, the main essence of the Injil is the teaching about Tawhid, right?
Right.
So
yeah. So that's an interesting question, because Muslims say that all the prophets had, when they say they had all the same message, they don't just mean like they're all pointing to the same direction or something like that. They're saying the same things.
Like God is
Yeah.
one and the last day and all that stuff.
Yeah, and so it's interesting, very interesting question, good question. So we'll get the two Chris's thoughts on this. I'll just give some top of my head thoughts, but yeah. So the idea is that the Torah is the only thing the Torah says is that Allah is one, and maybe some
And the last
relevant
day.
laws that they're supposed to, like food dietary laws that they have relevant for them. But most important thing is that there's a last day, and that there's Allah, He's one, and then all the prophets just keep repeating that same message that Allah is one, Allah is one. And the Jews who believe in the Torah, who believe that Allah is one, they're now rejecting the Injil, which supposedly just says that Allah is one. And it's also confirming the Torah. So I guess the question is like, what is he putting the blame on? If they're rejecting the Injil, what's different? What's the content difference from the Injils of the Torah? I guess we can't answer that question unless we answer God Logic's question. What's the Injil? But
Chris?
the Chris's, what do you guys think?
So I'm gonna jump in here. Okay, so there is one thing that I think is a fair inference. Like the Quran does, I think, call out the Jews for not accepting the Messiah, which of course
But
it
who is
seems
the
to make
Messiah,
sense.
right?
But who's the
It's-
Yeah,
what-
who is? I guess it's fair to say that the Injil probably did say in the Quran author's view that Jesus is the Messiah. I mean, the Injil, I think you can show that it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John at least. It's probably some other things as well, like the Proto-Evangelion of James, the Arabic Infancy Gospel. It's probably these things and other things. But the Quran quotes from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, or at least paraphrases it enough that you can kind of make this strong case that it is. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bit of a mess because the Quran doesn't give us too much to work from and exactly what. I mean, I find it confusing anyway. The Jews have a law, then he succumbs to the Jews, supposedly, with this other law, which is the Injil, because he changes some of the laws, according to the Surah Al-Imran, Surah 350. The Quran never tells us what those are, so the exegetes just have license to basically read into that whatever they want. And that's kind of it, really. So it's yeah, the Quran's a bit of a mess when it comes to trying to figure out exactly what the author is thinking of when it's blaming the Jews. The only thing I think you can say is that, yeah, he's at least saying that they rejected the Messiah. That's bad. But because of verses like 262 and 569, they're still going to heaven somehow. I don't understand how the Quran says that you have to believe in all the prophets and make no distinction between them, but also the Jews that reject Jesus can still get to Jannah. I find that really weird.
I do too. And I think that there's two ways that you can look at this. There's the way that the Muslims will speak about it, and then there's ways that the Quran will talk about it. So when we're talking to Muslims, they'll say that Isa was given the Injil because the Jews at that time didn't follow the one true God. Now, that's historically inaccurate. There was people that worshipped one God at the time of Jesus. But Muslims will tell you that Isa came with the Injil because the Torah was corrupted and they were worshiping other gods. And Isa was supposed to call them back to the worship of the one true God. And this is the reason why Isa was sent the Injil. Now, this is the reason why I think that Muslims will say that the Jews didn't accept the oneness of God because they didn't accept the Injil. But that's not necessarily true as well. Again, this is just Muslim speaking, because when you read the Quran, a group of the children of Israel believed and a group disbelieved. So there was Jews that actually did believe Jesus's message when it comes to the Injil. We see that in Surah 355 and Surah 61, ayat 14. And these are the Jews that are supposed to propagate the message until the day of resurrection. So again, there's two views. It's either, and I love how David put this up in his debate, it's either Team Allah or Team Dawa. Team Allah says that the Injil and the Torah are uncorrupted. It also says that Isa had the Torah at his time, and I doubt that Isa would have been reading a corrupted Torah at his time and affirming a corrupted Torah at his time. So the Quran seems to give the indication that there is no corruption of these texts, and that Isa did have the Torah at his time, and that the Jews did accept, or some of them did accept, the message of the Injil. But when you talk to Team Dawa, the whole script flips. So it just depends on who you're talking to at the time.
Yeah, and what's weird is that this might be another dilemma, I don't know. In Surah 3, verse 50, Allah says that Jesus came to legalize some of what had been forbidden to you, to the Jews. On the mouth of Jesus, it says, I will confirm the Torah revealed before me. So he confirming the Torah and then legalize some of the stuff in it. But yet, in Surah 5, when the Jews come to Muhammad for judgment, he should have told them to go to the gospel then, because it legalized some of the stuff that they was forbidden for them. But he tells them to go to the Torah, the original.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Why would he have them go to judgments that supposedly the true God has abrogated and corrupted? So
that's true. Like, no, that is true. Why would the Jews go back to the Torah when Isa was given the Injil, and he was either to confirm the laws or make halal or make haram what was halal, or make halal what was haram, right? So as Jay said, the abrogation took place. So you can't, and in a Muslim rule, you don't go by the verse that was abrogated. You go by the verse that, or sorry, you go by the new verse, of course, right? The new ruling.
And they actually came to the latest one, Muhammad, and he told them to not go to the first one or the second one. I mean, he didn't tell them to the judgment of him, which would have abrogated both the Torah and the Gospel. He told them to go to the first one.
Big problem. Yeah.
Chris, you're muted, I think.
No, yeah.
Oh,
I was gonna say, what I would say there, maybe that's the confirmation dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and why would he be confirming stuff that's been abrogated? It just makes no sense. It just makes zero sense. And were the Jews wrong then to hold on to their Torah and not want to legalize the stuff that they have? Or were they not?
Yep.
All right.
That's a good point.
All right, guys. I think we had an hour later than regular, so we appreciate both Chris Claus and Speakers Corner Chris for staying with us an extra hour.
Thank you.
Thanks for
guys
having us on.
so much.
Yeah, so we just got some like super chats to go through, so you guys are free to leave. You guys don't have to stick around through the super chats, but if you guys want to stay, you can. You're welcome. But tomorrow, guys, we'll be having another live stream, 2 p.m. Eastern, on the Christmas dilemma. The Christmas dilemma.
What is that?
We're all going to learn what the Christmas dilemma is tomorrow, and God willing, we'll have Avery with us, David with a working internet, and Chris Klaus will be with us too. And yeah, so you guys check it out, and hope to see you all there tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern.
I just want to
Nice.
say too as well, thank you so much, Jay and DOC, for inviting me up on the live stream. It's always awesome to be debating with the two of you against Muslims. Brings back old times, of course, and nothing better than to have your wife with us, Jay, because DOC is one of the strongest females that we actually have out here right now defending our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So thank you so much, DOC, for everything that you do for Jay and for the kingdom as well.
Thank
And
you.
also,
God bless you.
and also, Chris from Speaker's Corner, if y'all have not put it on your to-do list in 2026, y'all need to get this man's book, The Islamic Dilemma, when it comes out. I myself will be buying 2 copies, one for myself, and I will be doing a raffle draw on my channel for the other book for Christians that may not have the money to be able to purchase the book themselves that want the book. So when I do that raffle, I prefer, if it's people that just can't afford the book, put in for that raffle and we can get them a book that way as well.
Awesome
Oh,
idea.
thanks, man. Yeah, I
Love it.
really appreciate it.
All right.
I am going to have to jump off because it's
Yeah.
getting late.
All right. God bless
But-
you, Chris.
Yes, God bless you, Jai and DOC. God bless you, Chris Claus. It's been awesome being on live with you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thank
All
you.
right.
And I think we've learned if your name is Chris, you're good to argue against Islam.
All right, guys.
All right.
So, guys, yes, we will be doing another one tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. Check it out. Check it out. I think we went over the super sticker. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
that.
John Wilson, thank you for your super chat. When you only know a person by their voice, you tend to put a face to the voice. When John and DOC reveal their faces, I imagine I'll be horrified.
Oh, I hope you're not horrified.
God bless you both. Yeah, that's true. It's not about being horrified. I mean, people do have an image in their mind. It's like if you ever meet your favorite radio host and you're like, oh, wow, I thought, like when I was small, I thought, I used to listen to Abla Fadila, she used to narrate children's stories on the radio. And when I saw her in real life, I thought she was like a princess or something, princess looking, but she wasn't a princess.
All right, thanks for that. God bless you. When Imam Klaus puts his Toronto Maple Leafs hat, when Imam Klaus puts his Toronto Maple Leafs hat on, it makes me raise an eyebrow and I start to question his sanity. Okay, yeah. And so the Canadian dollars there, yeah. So
it's a good thing you said that when he left.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, DOC. All right.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too. I can't say your name, but thank you. Ancient Jews had a Trinitarian concept of God. Is that true, Joe?
That's right.
This is more evident in Genesis 19:24, Daniel 7, to name a few. Islam or any Unitarian, for that matter, has a God who cannot be eternally loving. I think our brother Anthony Rogers has done a lot of work on the Trinity in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
So he's also good to hear about that.
Yeah, and that's very true. Thank you for the super chat.
Have y'all heard the song Albo Hnayn by Sameh Hatta? He's a Coptic singer, really good one too. I'm thinking, so Albo Hnayn means his heart is kind. I'm thinking it's about Jesus and it's a worship song. That's what I'm thinking. No, I haven't heard it. I will search for it though.
We probably heard it, but we maybe don't know it by its name. Sometimes you just hear songs, but you don't know the names of the songs. But thank you for that. We'll look at for specifically, and I'm sure we've probably heard it before. But
the original EMUF. Thank you.
DOC, thank you for that wonderful explanation of how to pray. God bless. And all the panel members. Well, all the panel members have left, but thank you so much. God bless you too. 20 gifted members. Thank you so much. The original. Appreciate that. God bless you. And everyone who just got gifted a membership, welcome to the 24% crew.
The hadith says the Zut rode Muhammad, but they don't mention from what point A to what point B.
Yeah, where did they go?
It's almost there was no point A and B.
Yeah, there's.
I think the Zut mystery will remain. So.
Thank you for that super chat.
Texas Toasty, thank you. Can we get a bobblehead merch that is a Zut that is riding Momo like a cowboy on a bull at the rodeo? Put it on a spring under its torso, so it looks like Momo is bucking when it bobbles.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we'll be the ones making that one, but that's
I tell you what,
funny.
You've got it all.
Yeah.
Do the prototype.
No.
I'm just
No.
joking.
But thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. All the glory to Jesus, our beloved hope. May Islam continue its downfall in 2026 for the glory of the true God, Yahweh. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for that beautiful message and for that super chat. Appreciate that. Thoughts on Dr. Joshua Sajwadi's stance on the Trinity? That's the stance. The stance that Joshua Sajwadi takes on the Trinity. If you guys want to check out Inspiring Philosophy, to check out his videos and his take on the Trinity, it's a position called the monarchy of the Father, and he represents it as the traditional view. He thinks that that's the traditional view, the way he presents it, and I think that he has obviously a good way of explaining the Trinity, but there are also some areas that he's lacking in. But I think he's great overall. I love his argument on the love argument. If you guys haven't seen his love argument for the Trinity, I think it's not his argument, but he develops on the popular love argument for the Trinity, and the way that he argues it is like just brilliant. So yeah, he's a great philosopher, a great scholar. I think that when it comes to like the use of the name Yahweh and things like that, he is off on that, but I think that his explanation of the Trinity is solid, and yeah, he's a good philosopher. So thank you guys all for being here today. God bless you all. We pray that you guys have if we don't see you guys tomorrow, we want to wish you guys, if you guys are celebrating on the 25th, some of you guys celebrating on January 6th, 7th, and I don't think anyone's celebrating any other dates than that. But if you are, we want to wish you an early Merry Christmas. We pray that you have a blessed time with your family, with your loved ones, and thinking about what the Lord did for you on that day and what that means to us as Christians. And pray that you guys have a great time, and we love you guys, and we pray for God's blessings on you guys.
Yes, thank you for being with us today, and God bless you, and have a good Christmas.
All right, guys. Well, if you guys are going to see us tomorrow, we'll see you guys tomorrow. If this you might be busy tomorrow, understandably, Sunday before Christmas, then yeah, we will see you guys on the next live stream whenever we see you guys next. God bless you all, and Jesus is Lord.
Amen.
If I were to bring reasonable evidence that the Prophet Muhammad, that he was a true prophet, would you be willing to become a Muslim?
How about no? I don't buy your Allah. I don't buy your Allah. No, I don't buy your Allah. I don't buy your no.
I don't like your Allah. I don't like your Allah. Eh? I don't like your Allah. I don't like your Allah. No. I like Tim Hortons way better. No. Chug chugging gallons of maple syrup.
No.
I like Tim Hortons way better, eh?
No.
Chugging gallons of maple syrup.
How about no? I don't buy your Ella. I don't buy your Ella. No. I don't buy your Ella. I don't buy you. No. No. No.